they have already scripted the headlines. Before the sirens even stopped, they knew exactly who they were going to blame. And let's not play games here. We all know the deal. For years, the anti-Islamic rhetoric coming from the political right, from Donald Trump himself, has painted an entire global faith with a broad, dangerous brush. Words now have body counts. And when you spend a decade conditioning people to see an entire community as a hidden threat, you lay the psychological concrete for a radicalized mind to pick up a rifle and terrorize a house of God. The media wants this to be an open and shut case of right-wing white supremacy. And that's on period. But wait a minute. Hold it right there. Let's stop reading the media script and start looking at reality. Can I get an amen? Because if we are going to talk about dangerous rhetoric, and if we're going to talk about human nature, we need to talk about the massive hypocritical blind spot staring this country right in the face. Why is it that our mainstream media can perfectly understand human nature when it comes to one group of radicals, but completely blinds itself to another? Today, we're going to push past the media's favorite talking points. We're going to look at the terror attack that happened in San Diego, California, which is about two hours away from me here in LA. But then we're going to look at the radical ideology, the chance of globalize the intifada on our own streets, in our own colleges, in our own country, and the brutal reality of practices such as Sharia law that have the left completely ignorant. Grab a seat. We need to have a real conversation. Recently, there was an attack in San Diego on a Muslim house of worship, right? And everybody is up in arms. And the natural reaction is to say, hey, look, this is alt-right, radical rhetoric that has led to two white supremacists who have left a manifesto saying, expressing racist white supremacist views. And I don't know if you know about this. I don't know if you're up on game when it comes to this situation. But I feel like we have to do people who may not know the service of bringing them up to speed as to what's going on and what we're really talking about overall. They've just released the names of these young men. Not only did they release the names, they have motive, right? And this act of terror, which it is, no one can deny it, has been labeled as such. They are now investigating this as a hate crime. And if you feel confused, stick with me, because I'm going to crack this case wide open from a perspective that you're not going to find on any other channel. That's what I do here. But let's get everybody up to speed as to what's happening.
And in San Diego, authorities are investigating a possible hate crime at a mosque. 3 people were killed after a shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Police say the 2 teenage suspects were also found dead inside a car nearby. CBS News national correspondent Jonathan Bigliotti joins us live from San Diego with more on this. Good morning, Jonathan. What more can you tell us about what happened?
And Errol, good morning to you. The San Diego police say they were actually searching for one of the suspects hours before the attack. This after the mother called police saying that he was missing and acting suicidal. Tragically, they did not find him until it was too late.
Everybody back 50 feet. San Diego police received a call about an active shooting at the Islamic Center at 11:43 a.m. Monday.
I heard like a bunch of bad stuff, like gunshots.
4 minutes later, the police chief said officers arrived on the scene where they found 3 deceased victims, proceeding to sweep the mosque and its school facilities, where aerial footage showed children running from the building. Imam Taha Hassan, who is the director of the center, posted this update.
The entire school is safe. All the kids, all the staff and the teachers are safe out of the Islamic Center. We have few casualties.
As that was happening, more chaos.
We received calls of a vehicle a couple blocks away that was shooting at a landscaper. The landscaper is going to be okay, but we are still investigating that scene.
The suspects, a 17 and 18-year-old male, were both found dead near the scene from what police said were likely self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The police chief said earlier in the day officers had begun searching the area for a potential threat after one suspect's mother reported him missing, concerned he was suicidal.
Several of her weapons were missing. Her vehicle was missing. She also said that her son was with a companion and that they were dressed in camo. That began to trigger a larger threat assessment picture.
Police added that there was evidence of hate speech, but would not elaborate. Among the victims, according to social media posts and people linked with the Islamic Center, its security guard. Maite Gutierrez, who calls the guard Brother Amin, says she knew him well when she worked at the center's school for years.
Because of his heroism and his courage, his bravery, and the love for his community and his faith, he saved a lot of lives.
Imam Hassan spoke to us in 2023 during a national spike in Islamophobia.
We receive daily reports from community members being.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there because, okay, I mean, I feel sympathy for these people. Nobody should be attacked in their place of worship. It's absolutely wrong to do this. It's not right. These people are not guilty. They haven't done anything wrong. But what I want to point out is this. There is basically a battle between two sides. And one of those sides is Islam. And within their religion, they have a radical element of Islam. And they use terror attacks and violence to kind of influence political action. And then on the other side is you have Christian nationalism. I can't just say it's white because there are many people who are Christians in America, and there are many people who are very nationalistic. Now, when the children on the campuses of liberal community colleges and colleges period are screaming, globalize the intifada, when you have people having pro-Hamas rallies where people are openly supporting terrorists, right? Where are these people? I do not hear condemnation of this radical element from these people. These people say, well, you know, Islam is a religion of peace. It doesn't matter what the radical element of our country does, of our religion does, because Islam is a religion of peace. Meanwhile, if you look at the history of the religion, you see that many countries that are now Muslim countries once had majority Christian populations. Take Lebanon, for example. Take Iran, for example. And so, though people may say, hey, this religion is a religion of peace, history seems to tell us something else. Because even from the time Muhammad was capable of fighting wars, from the inception of the religion, bro fought every single day up until the day he died, engaged in violent conflicts with the intent of spreading Islam. And when Islam came into a territory, the first thing they would do is declare war, kill as many people as they had to install Islam as the national religion, right? So people will say, hey, we don't need a Jewish state. Israel is expansionist. Whoop de whoop. Greater Israel. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with any of that. But what I do know is you got one Israel. You got 50 something Muslim countries. And hardly any of those countries started off as Muslim. Even Afghanistan was a majority Buddhist country until the Muslims invaded it and turned it into an Islamic country. So while I feel bad for these people, I really do. I'm not being fake as hell. I'm not. I also understand that there is beyond a reason, there's beyond just a unhealthy suspicion that when people come into your country and they're saying this is a religion of peace, that there could be an effort on their part to do to your country what they've done, let's be real, to every single country that they've come into since the inception of their religion. I mean, if you look at Britain right now, you have a whole movement, Unite the Kingdom, right? Where white people from the UK are mobile, and black, there's a lot of black people in those crowds too. They are literally mobilizing against the Islamification of their country. Now, I'm not saying this to be anti-Semitic or anti-Islamic, none of these things. But I'm calling things from both sides. Because what we do in this world, we ignore one side in favor of the side that we like. And me, I don't really have a dog in the fight on either side. So I'm going to look at both sides. So when you see what has happened in the past with other countries, and then this group of people comes into your country in large numbers, right? And they're rallying and they're taking over jurisdictions, getting into political spaces, all that stuff. If there's no condemnation of the radical element of their religion, you have to understand that that has the potential to radicalize certain elements of another religion that may feel threatened by the influx of people of this certain religion into their communities, states, neighborhoods, whatever. I just want to call attention to that. Radicalism begets radicalism. It's, being radicalized is not something that Islamic people have a monopoly on. You can radicalize a white guy just as much as you can radicalize an Arab guy. You can radicalize a Mexican guy just as much as you can radicalize a black guy. And when you look at situations like the attack on this mosque, one would be remiss not to at least acknowledge this and at the very minimum examine the dynamic that exists within this situation. Is radicalism on one side radicalizing people on another side? Or is this just an isolated incident? You can unsub, hey, if you don't agree with me for examining the facts, it's not my, I speak what I think. I don't speak to make somebody like me. Is there radicalism on both sides? Yes, there is. Is the rise of, in my opinion, approved radicalism, or what would I say? Is the rise in support for radicalism causing a rise of radicalism on the other side? That's my big thing. That's my biggest thing.
assaulted, intimidated.
And said he hoped that struggle would strengthen what he called a resilient congregation. On Monday, he shared this message.
All of us, we are responsible for spreading the culture of tolerance, the culture of love.
And the security guard this morning.
Now, I love what that guy said. All of us are responsible for spreading the culture of tolerance and the culture of love. What that means to me is when I see people on a college campus holding people hostage in the name of free in Palestine, when I see people on campus chanting globalize the intifada, you might not even know what that means, right? I expect people from every community in America, Islam, Muslim community, Christian community, Jewish community, Buddhist community, every single community coming out in strong condemnation against these people. I love what that guy said. That's the messaging that I was waiting to hear from this element, as opposed to what I usually hear, even from my friends who are Muslims. They just kind of act like, oh, well, something happens to like someone who's a Jewish person or someone who's a Christian person. There, a lot of people's attitude in the Islamic community is just like, oh, well, they shouldn't have been trying to do this. Oh, well, they shouldn't have been in the Middle East. Oh, well, they shouldn't be holding the people in Palestine captive. And it's like, dude, you can't ever have an attitude of, oh, well, when there's lives that are being lost in the balance. I feel sorry for the women and children in Palestine who may get killed, just like I feel sad for the children and women and men in Iran who might get killed. But at the same time, I feel sorry for the people in the United States military who might get killed. I don't really like the idea of anyone like losing their life. And what we've done is we've basically devolved into tribalism, where we minimize loss of life on one side because we don't agree with that side. And I'm like, you can't ever do that. You can't be like, freedom for Palestine, but it's cool for, Iran to drop bombs on UAE because UAE doesn't want to take a side against America. It's like, are they hurting you? Are they doing something to you, Iran? Why are you launching bombs at them that could hurt women and children and innocent men? Oh, because you don't understand. The United States, no. Either you are an advocate of peace and justice and anti-war on all sides, or you are a perpetuator of war and injustice on all sides. It's not okay to say, oh, I'm anti-war if it's the United States engaging in war, but then be cool if it's Hamas engaging in war against Israel and saying, well, they have a right to do it because they are in prison. You know what's crazy being black? You could see people could say they understand Hamas going to war with Israel because they've been oppressed. But black people were oppressed in the United States for over 100 years, 200 years. Never once did we rise up and declare war on the country and engage in terrorism, as a whole, sponsored by us as a collective against the United States government. It just never happened. So when you talk about tolerance and being long-suffering, no one can give a lesson on that to a person of African descent who is the descendant of people who endured slavery in the United States. Bro, we literally marched while we were getting our heads busted open with bricks, getting shot with water hoses, getting attacked by dogs, beat up by the police. We just marched and sang. And now, fast forward to 2026, and the same people who were like, yo, peaceful protest, are now like, nah, it's cool to do a terrorist attack because you don't agree with what's happening to your people. I wouldn't even support Nelson Mandela in the terrorist attacks they did as the ANC against the white Boers in South Africa. because I know that through peaceful protest, things can get accomplished. And when you do it that way, it keeps a vitriolic situation, a vitriolic relationship, from being born, which will result in decades, millennia of fighting and war that just will never stop. Do you really believe that these wars and this infighting started in like the 1950s? The people in the Middle East have been fighting for like 2,000 years. And you're like, yeah, but with the creation of the state of Israel, it's like, bro, they was fighting before that and gonna fight long after that. But the reason why is because people don't, in that situation, don't operate fairly, or they don't look at things from objective perspective, right? Objectively. And that's starting to come over here now. Now everybody is down in the white Christian nationalist. And it's like the white Christian nationalist is like, whoa, 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 whoa. We weren't the guys chanting globalize the intifada. Yo, we've been here from the beginning. We built this country. They start throwing out their excuses for radicalism because they feel like they're being attacked for doing something that they feel is right. The same way with an Islamic person, they're going to say, wait, all Muslims are not violent. All Muslims are not terrorists. All Muslims don't engage in terrorist attacks. But I'm being attacked because of what someone else is doing who I don't even know and I never even met. So, hey, this is a channel where you get like a realistic, adult, mature perspective on things. This is definitely not a channel where you just come in and somebody's going to just try to trigger you emotionally.
Being hailed a hero for keeping the gunman out of the school, a tragedy police say could have been much worse without his intervention, Errol.
Yeah, remarkable. Jonathan, thank you. Michael Alcazar joins us now. He's a professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. He's also a retired NYPD detective. Michael, good morning. We keep hearing this attack could have been much worse, if not for the mother of one of the suspects calling police first, and if not for the intervention of this heroic security guard. Do you think there is an increased effort by parents to pay attention to what their teenagers are up to? What jumps out at you so far in this incident?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this in the past, and I think the mother did a good job reporting her child missing and the weapons missing and her vehicle missing. So that gave a lot of information for law enforcement to be on the lookout for, right? The vehicle make and potential weapons they're carrying. So, I mean, I think the weapons should have been secured better, that teenagers shouldn't have access to these weapons. So that's kind of like a fault on the family's part because, they had easy access and maybe there were things leading up that could have prevented this.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. We're going to have to start holding these parents accountable for their children having easy access to large caches of weapons, right? How are these dudes getting crossbows, high-power rifles, and everything else to go do these mass shootings? And then you're like, where did this kid get these weapons from? Oh, he just went in his mom's closet and was able to get like camouflage clothing, all this stuff. And even though you're reporting it, like, bro, how did your kid, who you already suspected of being suicidal, this woman reported that her son was suicidal. So you knew that your son was suicidal, but you still left weapons right within his reach? This lady, in my opinion, needs to be charged. This person needs to be charged. They're holding the black parents responsible for their kids raiding the downtown of the urban areas, DC, Chicago, all these places. They want to charge parents. This lady, in my opinion, should be charged. Why is this woman being lauded as a hero for reporting her son when she knew bro was suicidal, but she left weapons at bro's disposal that he could access very easily? That's just negligence. And we live in a world where many parents are becoming increasingly negligent when it comes to, supervision of their children. And it's time to stop making excuses for it. And it's time to start holding these people accountable. You don't leave guns at the disposal of a kid who is suicidal, because then he does shit like this. You don't leave guns at the within reach of any person that's under the legal age to hold those guns or have those guns legally. And if you do that, you should be charged, in my opinion.
Now, we're seeing a rise in Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. I mean, minority groups are being targeted at increasing rates. Why are faith centers so often targets of violent attacks like this?
Well, places of worship are, by design, open environments, right? Very welcoming. And I think as of late, because of our current climate, we have to change the posture, the security posture, right? We have to make sure that it's safe. They should establish layers of security to ensure that the people attending these facilities are safe, meaning they should have, in the outer perimeters, like I saw that this place had a large parking lot. There should be bollards that we see perhaps in New York City. Maybe if you want to make it more not threatening, the giant planters so that vehicles can't just be improvised to ram these facilities. They should have trained personnel that can identify potential bad actors. The facility itself should have limited access, meaning locked doors, that people can't just walk in. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're dealing with the safety of again, like a religious center like this.
And an armed security guard really made the difference, it appears, in San Diego. Do you think more places of worship should have that type of protection, as jarring as it may be to see?
Yeah, I think people don't want to think like that or have that presence, but sadly, again, because of this current climate of active shooters, lone actors, it's probably a good idea to have law enforcement at the facility or trained security personnel to prevent attacks like this one.
And people, and I love his response, because he highlighted the fact, a lot of people don't want to think in realistic terms. We have a media that, in my opinion, operates in an incendiary way when it comes to sensitive situations. You have shows like The View. You have shows like Rachel Maddow's show. You have shows like Abby, what's her name? What is that girl's name? Abby Phillips' show. You have people like Dean Withers. These people speak in fear-mongering terms, and they are, and they use incendiary language to kind of stoke fear, the fear of one group, so that it can and then it gets like weaponized against another group. I'll give you a prime example. Somebody got so mad at me for saying, oh man, we got to acknowledge like situations like when people walk around and chant globalized intifada. You got people on college campuses doing marches screaming this, right? What the hell is an intifada, right? What is that? What does that even mean, right? I'll show you what it means right here. And I'm going to make a connection. Let's go here.
You might have heard anti-Israel protesters calling to globalize the Intifada, and that might not seem like a big deal. The word Intifada in Arabic means shaking off, which in the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict originally referred to the popular uprising against Israeli military rule in the West Bank, in Gaza. But that uprising quickly turned violent, and not only towards Israelis. In the first Intifada, as many Palestinians were killed by other Palestinians as were killed by the Israeli army. But if the first Intifada was bad, the second Intifada left both Israeli and Palestinian societies traumatized in ways that most of us can't comprehend. Hamas carried out suicide bombings and other attacks that killed over 1,000 Israelis, and IDF reprisals killed over 3,000 Palestinians. The Intifadas are some of the bloodiest chapters in the history of this conflict. A call to globalize the Intifada is a call for blood.
Okay, so this is an Islamic person. He's telling you, he's a Palestinian. He's saying, globalized intifada is a call for blood. It is literally synonymous with bloody uprisings where Palestinians killed many people, including but not limited to Israelis. They even killed other Palestinians. And Israelis killed thousands and thousands of Palestinians, right? Every time this goes on, there's lots of death on each side. So then you get a bunch of like college kids. Maybe they're ignorant to the reality. One woke guy who is a sympathizer with terrorism or whatever, he starts educating them and teaching, well, this is what it really means, and they lied to you. And so now it's trendy, right? It's hella trendy. So now you get the kids on college campuses, they're running around screaming it. And you got people who may know what that is. People who might be military, people who might be Israeli, Jewish, whatever. And they're like, wait a minute. They're letting these kids run around on college campuses chanting this. But I remember back when this happened in Israel, or back when this happened in Palestine, and I remember like 3 of my family members got killed, or thousands of people died during the first and second and third, whatever, intifada. So maybe the kids on the college campus, maybe they're chanting it because they're ignorant, or maybe they just don't give a damn so much that they've dehumanized the other side that they oppose, and they're like, hey, let's hope that this happens again. Let's watch another clip about the intifada so we're clear on what that means.
Let's talk about the intifada. Between 2000 and 2005, Palestinian terrorists murdered over 1,000 Israelis in more than 140 brutal attacks. Buses, cafes, families, all targeted. Now, in 2024 and 2025, we're hearing something chilling. Calls for a global intifada in the streets of Europe, the United States, and online. And it's not just words. Jewish communities are under attack in Washington, Paris, Berlin, and beyond. We keep calling on law enforcement. Investigate every chant, every post promoting intifada. This is not free speech. It's a call to murder Jews, and some are listening and acting. Global intifada isn't a slogan, it's a threat. Take it seriously.
Now, when you have a situation like that, now fear is being introduced into your conversation. It goes beyond justice for Palestine or Israel has the right to self-determination. Now you have to ask the question, now people are asking questions like, yo, like, are they going to now people are going to ask questions like, if they let them chant that on the college campus, does that mean they're okay with that? Does that mean they'll let these people hurt me? And whether you like it or not, you have young people, whether they're white, black, blue, or green, or Arab, they're online and they're getting indoctrinated either in favor of this stuff or they're getting indoctrinated against this stuff. And if they get indoctrinated enough because they don't have, in my opinion, the maturity to kind of parse out fact from fiction, then they go and they do stuff like what you saw happen at that mosque. Even adults, they do stuff like what you saw happen at that Israeli temple in Michigan. Was that in Michigan? Like, it kills me when people are like, oh, one side is doing it. No, dude, both sides are doing it. Both sides are doing this stuff. But we only demonize the side we don't like. And we say, but we make an excuse for the side that we do like. Why don't we just take a stance in the best side ever? In the middle. Because in the middle, then you can mediate something. But you can't mediate when you're biased to one side or the other. That's why I tell people, I don't have a dog in the fight at all. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Israeli or Jewish. I just look at it and I say, incendiary rhetoric is coming off of either side. You got some people on the Israeli side who are making an excuse for certain things that happen to people in Palestine that aren't right. Then you have people on the Muslim side, even the Palestinian side, who make excuses for certain things that are happening to Israeli people that are not right. And if you dare call out both sides, oh, you're anti-Semite. Oh, you're Islamaphobe. It's like right now, you can't both sides in a genocide. What are you talking about? You can't play. No one needs to play both sides. Two things can be true at one time. We're adults. We're not children. And I'll be real with you. 90% of Americans don't even care about this at all. They wake up and this stuff is like getting their latte is more important than this stuff. But those of us who don't want to see dying on either side, we got to say something. Hey, dude, absolutely wrong to go up inside of a mosque killing people. Absolutely wrong to run up in a synagogue trying to kill people. Should something like the term globalize the intifada be taken lightly and, oh, that's just free speech? Bro, no. Because we know the history of that. That's like somebody saying globalize the Holocaust. You know that was something where something bad happened that hurt and killed a lot of people. And you have to be sensitive to that. Same thing I feel with the intifada. I think the intifada promotion should be taboo and really criminalized the same way someone who promotes the Holocaust is criminalized. That's what I believe. I believe that both those terms, like, people can say what they want, but understanding that people who are calling for it, like I hear with the people with the intifada thing, those people should definitely be investigated. Like, yo, bro, treat it like when somebody makes a threat towards the president. We got to at least go see what's going on with this person to make sure that they're not really trying to execute or, on this stuff that they're saying. It just has to start happening. Now, why isn't it happening? And how do our politicians make it worse? So I explained to you what the intifada situation is, what that means, right? Now, you got somebody who was elected mayor of the largest city in America, like the wealthiest city on earth, pretty much. And they ask him about the term intifada. He's a Muslim. Let's hear what his response is on it.
I want to ask you about an issue that has divided some New Yorkers in recent weeks. You were recently asked about the term globalize the intifada, if it makes you uncomfortable. In that moment, you did not condemn the phrase. Now, just so folks understand, it's a phrase that many people hear as a call to violence against Jews. There's been a lot of attention on this issue. So I want to give you an opportunity to respond here and now. Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the intifada?
That's not language that I use. The language that I use and the language that I will continue to use to lead this city is that which speaks clearly to my intent, which is an intent grounded in a belief in universal human rights. And ultimately, that's what is the foundation of so much of my politics, the belief that freedom and justice and safety are things that to have meaning have to be applied to all people, and that includes Israelis and Palestinians.
And right there, you just radicalized a bunch of Israeli youth who may or may not live in New York, right? No, I condemn anything that calls for or alludes to something that resulted in the deaths of thousands of people. Do you condemn the Holocaust? Yeah, someone's asked me that. Yes, 100%. I condemn anything where there was loss of human life unnecessarily in the name of supremacy or in the name of unsubstantiated fear. I condemn it across the board. That's what politicians used to say. John McCain, when the white lady said, oh, Obama's a Muslim. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. He wants to destroy. No, ma'am. He's a good American. He's a Christian. He loves this country. We just disagree on how it should be run. That's what should happen. These people don't even have the guts to do that anymore. What Zohran Mamdani did in that moment was wrong to do. And if you don't see that clearly, then you are part of the problem. Oh, well, that's not language I use. But I don't want to police someone else's ability to scream out terms that allude to violence, violent times in history where thousands of lives were lost. The guy's a joke. And why it's like a double-edged sword is because on one hand, it like apologizes and excuses the acts of the people who committed violence during that time. It minimizes it. And then on the other side, it makes the people who may have been affected by that situation, it makes them feel less safe. It makes them feel like the people who have been elected to protect and serve them will leave them hanging out to dry when push comes to shove, right? And what did Zohran Mamdani do directly after this? What did Zohran do directly after this situation? Right? When the terrorists they tried to execute a terrorist attack, remember the dudes tried to do the terrorist attack outside of his residence, where the Islamic terrorist kids, they threw a bomb in the middle of a crowd of protesters, and Mamdani was like, yo, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna say anything negative about those people. He literally just made an excuse for it. And every time somebody comes out and does something and he doesn't condemn it outright, it looks to people who are, who he's serving. It looks to them like bro is picking sides. And when you're an elected official, you have to be you're there to represent everyone. Now, let's see what he said following the Muslim terror attack in NYC. Let's hear if he says, I 100% condemn all acts of terror. Those men who did that attack were terrorists. They deserve to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, as does anyone who commits an act like this, whether they are Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or whatever else. Let's see if he says that.
I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home.
This is wild out of New York.
Anti-Muslim. So it was a Muslim attack where they threw a bomb into a crowd of protesters. The first thing the guy starts talking about is anti-Muslim bigotry. Not talking about the criminals who happen to be Muslim, not condemning what they did. He spins it towards victimhood. Now he starts blaming the victims of the attack and saying that this is anti-Muslim bigotry.
I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home.
This is wild.
Good morning. On Saturday, a protest was held outside Gracie Mansion, where I live with my wife, Rama. Neither of us were home at the time. This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city.
So the protest was a violent anti-Islamic protest, which there was no violence that took place at that protest. Was it anti-Islamic? Yes, it was. Do those people have the right to exercise freedom of speech? Yes, they do. Now, the minute they do violence, they're wrong. They need to be arrested and taken to jail. They can say what they want. But how are you talking about a violent anti-Muslim protest when Muslim people threw a bomb into the crowd of protesters? The protesters didn't throw a bomb at anyone. They were in front of Zohran Mamdani's house. They didn't throw a bomb in his window. They didn't throw a bomb on his porch. They didn't even have a bomb. But then the Muslim terrorist dudes came. They threw a bomb into the crowd of people, and he's like, nah, this was a violent white supremacist anti-Muslim rally. Do you see where I'm going here? And Random Independent, you got to show your face. No one can see you, but you at least have to show your face to me so that I know you're not just some crazy person trying to get up here. So when you click your camera on to where I can at least see you, then when you do that, you could come up. And Vinny, if you want to come up, the link is here. You're more than welcome, because people will tell you that you're wrong all day. But when it comes time to explain why you're wrong, they can't. And I would love it if someone could explain to me why the mayor of New York, following a Muslim attack against a crowd of protesters, they were peaceful, they weren't doing anything violent, after they've been attacked with a bomb, why is he screaming about white supremacist, anti-Islamic protests and not saying, I condemn the people threw that bomb in a crowd of people? A anti-Muslim white supremacist protest, inherently, that's not hurting anyone. A bomb being thrown in the crowd, that's an issue. He doesn't even care about that. It's all narrative.
Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home.
Listen to me. This man is evil, and now I'm going to...
Now, here's the thing. The point, the whole question of this is, does that type of refusal, or deflection from a crime that has been committed, an act of terrorism that has been committed, and then flipping that as, well, they were having a white supremacist protest. Does that help bring people together based on what's right and wrong? Or does that make the people who did it feel justified in what they're doing, therefore encouraging more people to do things like that? That's the biggest question. Hey, Random Independent, you got to show your face, buddy. To me, at least. If you're not going to show it, because no one can see you, but you got to click in or else you can't come up. You got to click your, so this is all I'm saying. But let's look at what happens. Now, I want you guys to pay quick attention, and we're going to get back to our main topic. I'm going to show you what happened during the protest. And I want you to kind of reconcile in your mind, like, ask yourself the question, why did the mayor bring up the protesters who were the victims of this attack as white supremacists, anti-Islamic, whatever, first, instead of first condemning the people who carried out the terrorist attack, the terror attack? That's the biggest issue here. Look. That's the guy who threw the bomb into the crowd. Zoran didn't say, oh, but it was a racist attack. I mean, it was a racist protest. It's like, dude, okay, let's say it was. But the problem here, which led to an arrest, was
that guy real quick before we...
The problem here was the two guys who came with bombs and tried to blow up those protesters. The KKK can protest in any city in America. And as long as they're not hurting anybody, they'll be fine. The police won't arrest them. So we know that racist protests are a thing that can happen. But what can't happen is someone throwing a bomb into a crowd of people because they don't like what those people are saying.
Tell you a little bit more about him. So there he is throwing, and we'll have a little bit more on exactly what he was throwing. Told by federal law enforcement sources that in New York City.
So the last thing I'm gonna do on this part is I'm gonna read what Zohran Mamdani said about this terrorist attack immediately after it happened. Did he immediately say, I condemn all terrorists, I condemn anyone who carries out terrorist attacks against peaceful protesters? That's not what Zohran said. Zohran said, yesterday, white supremacist Jake Lang organized a protest outside Gracie Mansion rooted in bigotry and racism. In America, can you hold a protest legally that is rooted in bigotry and racism? Yes, you can. Such hate has no place in New York City. It is an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. Still no mention of the terrorists. What followed was even more disturbing. Violence at a protest is never acceptable. That should have been the first line. Violence at a protest is never acceptable. So in his statement, Zoran is admitting that the protesters were not doing any violence. When he first brings up violence, he says that the protesters were racist. He said that the protesters were bigots. There's no crime in America against being racist or bigoted. There's only a crime if you use that as your motivation to hurt someone. So he admits that they were bigots and racist, but he doesn't say they did any violence. Then he says violence at a protest is never acceptable. That's what followed. The attempt to use an explosive device and hurt others is not only criminal, it is reprehensible and the antithesis of who we are, right? Okay, but I don't see a condemnation of that. I vehemently condemn and oppose anybody. You know, that's where you let people know, like, even if you do identify with me, if you do some shit like that, I am not on your side and you're not on my side. I didn't see a condemnation. I heard basically a finger, oh, this is bad and this stands against who we are, and just lame. Remember when they asked Obama to condemn Jeremiah Wright? And Obama kind of, oh, well, he's my pastor. And then Jeremiah Wright went and said some more BS. And then Obama was like, I condemn what Pastor Wright was saying, Reverend Wright was saying, right? They asked Trump, do you condemn white supremacy? Do you denounce it? Do you denounce white supremacists? Trump was like, I condemn it and denounce it. Easy, right? Why can't we get why can't we get Zoran to do that and send a clear message to the people who may support him but think that he supports radicalism that they might be willing to commit? Because their goal is not to stop this type of stuff. Their goal is to perpetuate it, promote it, and then use it, you know, to weaponize against others. If you've been up here before, let me see. If you've been up here, Random Independent, then you could come back up and I'll let you up. But don't try to do no funny business. But yeah, so Random Independent, you're free. Feel free to come up, but don't try anything funny. I got my finger on the trigger to click you down. But anyway, so this is what I'm getting at. The whole point I'm making here is when you got people in leadership positions who operate like that, that's radicalizing people on all sides. That's making the side doing the terrorist act think that it's okay for them to do it. And then it's making the side that is the victim of the terrorist act feel like they have no protection from the people who have been put in position to protect them from people who want to hurt them. And that's a horrible feeling. And that leads to radicalization. Like, guys, this is America. We are not a low IQ country. We have the ability to analyze these situations objectively, to critically think on these types of situations. And the minute you let somebody trick you into believing that it's wrong to approach these things from a perspective of rational and logical thinking and critical thinking, guess what? You already lost. Somebody tried to shame me for pointing to the underlying issue when it comes to these radicalized attacks, these terrorist attacks. You're disgusting. I'm unsubbing. No, you're disgusting. Because when someone tries to get to the root of the problem, you condemn them because you want them to operate in pure ignorance. And we don't do that on this channel. We don't do that. We don't, oh, I'm on this side and forget that other side. We don't do that over here. I know that gets the most clicks. I know that gets the most views. I get that. But why not watch programs that make you better? Not just programs that are echo chambers that stroke your ego. I don't want any place of worship getting shot up. I don't want anyone dying because someone's mad or angry or feels threatened by another group in this country. In order to do that, you have to execute, enforcement of accountability and enforcement of the law equally across the board. Across the board. That's the only way you could do that. But let's get some more info on this situation.
This is every community's worst nightmare. I want to give you some preliminary information to put a lot of minds at ease. There is no further threat. Both suspects in this case are deceased. All of the kids are safe. Our hearts go out to the families that are in this moment being notified of what has happened to their loved ones. We have 3 confirmed adults that are deceased at the Islamic Center. There is a lot of preliminary information that we're going to try to highlight and cover, but understand it's going to take us some time to get accurate information out to everyone. Here's what we know so far. At about 11:43, we received a call of an active shooter at the Islamic Center. Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately 3 what appeared to be deceased victims out in front. They immediately began to deploy with an active shooter response.
The police never miss an opportunity to pat themselves on the back. This is what I'm saying, man. Like, you are the police chief of this area, right? Like, oh, they went in, they ran towards gunfire. Okay, people are already dead, bro. I'm not saying that's a failure on the police department's part, but why are you taking this tragedy as an opportunity to pat yourself on the back? Like, we're doing a great job. Bro, no. No one in California is doing a great job. We got all types of people doing all types of crazy stuff. And because we constantly defund the police, in my opinion, the police, even though they'll act like they're against it and we hate that they're defunding the cops, they're cool with it. They love working. They love getting paid and not working. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, just chill. This was tragic. You know, we need to take this moment to like turn the temperature down. We need to be unified against the people who want to destroy what we have here in America. That's the kind of speech I'm expecting from the chief of police. Not even one mention of turning down the political rhetoric. These are innocent people, families at this mosque. This is not the damn IRGC. This is not the damn Taliban. This is not Hamas, right? If you go to the synagogue, that is not the IDF. That's not the Israeli Defense Force. This is not Netanyahu's personal guard. These are people who are raising families just like you, who have little to almost no connection to the people you're afraid of, other than the fact that they share the same religious beliefs. But shit, Jeffrey Dahmer was probably a Christian. Does that mean if I'm a Christian, I agree and support what Jeffrey Dahmer was doing? John Wayne Gacy was a Christian. But does that mean if I'm a Christian, I support what John Wayne Gacy was doing? No. And you can't take that to any, you can't apply that type of connection to any group. I see those kids. I see people running scared. I don't see soldiers. I see people who are in fear for their life because 2 crazed individuals ran up in a damn church, their mosque, and started shooting people. And that's what we have to understand. We got to turn the temperature down on this type of stuff. We have to use our brain like, yo, if the media, you watching The View, you need to understand, excuse me, they make their money by getting clicks and views. and what gets clicks and views is them riling you up, getting you scared, making you look at your neighbor like they're your enemy. That's what gets them clicks and views. So if that's what makes them money, do you think they will hesitate for even a minute to continue to perpetuate that situation? You better know they won't. You better know they will not. Let's get some more updates on this.
The courage, the strength that Imam Taha has shown in the last 24 hours is beyond inspiring. And so with that, let me bring up Imam Taha to talk about our 3 victims. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Wald. Excuse me if I get a little bit emotional. We call them our brothers in the community. We call them our martyrs and our heroes. Our security guard, Amin Abdullah, he goes by Amin Abdullah. Brian Climax, such a lovely person. He never stopped smiling to anyone, our community members, as well as our visitors. If it was not for him, as Chief mentioned, the carnage would be much worse. He's the one who stopped them, who slowed them down. If he didn't do what he did, and he sacrificed his life, the 2 suspects would have easily access to every single classroom. We're so proud of him. I envy him when I see messages about him literally from all over the world talking about his heroism. This is our brother. Second one, Mansour Kaziha, our elder. He goes by Abu al-Izz. He is the pillar of the Islamic Center of San Diego. He has been since 1986, when the community started breaking the ground to build the Islamic Center. He was there. He has been at the Islamic Center for the last 40 years, working non-stop. In the last 22 years, being the Imam and Director of the Islamic Center of San Diego, I have never done anything without him. He is on the top of my list for people to call. Every single thing going wrong. Even the light, is not working. Brother Abu al-Izz, can you come and fix it? Anything that goes wrong, he was the handyman, he was the cook, he was the caretaker, he was the storekeeper. He was everything. I don't know what I'm going to do at the Islamic Center without his assistance, his daily assistance. We miss him. The entire community miss him. Our third brother, Nadir Awad, our neighbor. He lives across the street from the Islamic Center. His wife is a teacher at the Islamic school. He is every single day at the Islamic Center joining the prayers, every single day. When he heard the shooting, he rushed to do something, to protect. And he joined Mansour Kaziha. They died together. Mansour Kaziha was the first one who called 911 right before he was killed. And both of them, they tried to do something. They were hiding in the parking lot next to the kitchen. They tried to do something to protect. But unfortunately,
They sacrificed their lives to protect the entire community inside the Islamic Center of San Diego. I was there. I was upstairs. And I heard everything. I was hiding until the law enforcement came and escorted us outside the building. We have never, ever expected such thing to happen at the Islamic Center of San Diego. I mean, we are used to receiving hate mails, hate messages.
What I like what he's saying, and everything he's saying is fine. It's okay. I don't think he's a bad man, but I gotta see these guys getting on these cameras when you hear globalize the Intifada, when you see people pro-Palestine students kidnapping people, holding them hostage on a college campus like they did over at what was that university? Columbia University. I want to see this all the time. And in my mind, I just feel like I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing it. But I do not see enough Islamic priests or imams and all that. I don't see enough of them coming out in strong condemnation of the people who carry out acts of violence in the name of Islam. I just don't see it. Maybe I got a blind spot. Help me understand. Because I can tell you what these dudes did was 1,000% wrong. If any Christian person agrees with what they did, that person is a devil. That person is a devil. They're straight up evil. I have no problem saying that. But like I said, I even have friends who are Muslim. And when you bring up like terrorist attacks and stuff, they just kind of act like it's like, guys, put a 1 in the comments. Help me understand. Put a 1 in the comments if you have Muslim friends who, when you bring up acts of Muslim terror, they just kind of blow it off like it ain't no big deal. I'm really asking that question. Give me a 1 in the comments if you have Muslim friends who, when you bring up some crazy ass Islamic attack, they just blow it off like it's nothing. Like, oh well, that's my thing. I will call out a Christian person straight up. Hey, bro, these dudes killed these people in this mosque. That shit was wrong. If these guys didn't kill themselves, they should have got the death penalty. Shit, you need me to flip the switch? I would have fried them myself. You need me to inject the needle? I would have injected them myself. But maybe it's me, but I feel like I do not hear this on the other side. Oh, 100%. There's Christian genocide right now, and we'll get to that story next. Nigeria. You got Muslims killing Christians all over Nigeria. You got people talking about, oh, it ain't about Christian and Muslim. Dude, listen. It's about, why are these people killing these other people for no reason? Why is little girls getting kidnapped, bro? Every excuse in the book. What up, TSM? What up, TSM? Bro, you on that Obama phone. But yeah, it's like I need bro to hit that microphone.
There's people driving by and cursing and all that stuff. But such horrible crime, we have never expected this. Even though we tried throughout the years everything we could do, applying for Homeland Security grants. We have a fence, security armed guards, security cameras covering every single spot inside and outside the Islamic Center. What could we do more than this? So this is what my community is going through at this time. My community is mourning. My community is keeping our 3 heroes in their prayers. My community is around the 3 families, trying to show support and sympathy. So this is what happened at the Islamic Center, and these are our 3 heroes.
Yeah, my heart goes out to these people. Nobody deserves that. You going to church, you going to school, you trying to worship, and some crazed person comes up in there tripping with a gun, you know.
Largest mosque, yes.
I want to get a little bit into who actually carried out the violent act. And I want you to know we 100% condemn Kane Clark and the other kid, Velasquez, and what they did. They were 100% wrong. And like I said, if they survive, they deserve the death penalty.
Meanwhile, 3 people killed in a shooting at San Diego's largest mosque yesterday. 2 teenage suspects were found dead in a nearby car with self-inflicted wounds. Police giving this update on that.
Actively investigating this as a hate crime. There are details and information that
Random Independent, we know you scared to come up.
Exactly what those what the hate speech or the hate words were that were conveyed. There was definitely hate rhetoric that was involved.
We're still trying to learn more about this. So is Matt Finn, our reporter on the scene there in San Diego. And Matt, good morning there in California.
Good morning, Bill. Right now, investigators are working to determine exactly why these 2 young men, 17 and 18 years old, shot and killed 3 people at this Islamic center that on any given day has lots of women and children on the property. And just in, Fox has obtained a photo of 17-year-old Kane Clark, one of the teens believed to be responsible for the senseless act of terror that took place here yesterday. The San Diego police chief calls this shooting a free society's, quote, worst nightmare, and says it began yesterday morning when police got a call at 9:42 a.m. from a distressed mother who reported her son left a note behind and ran away. 3 guns were gone, and her son possibly wanted to take his own life.
Several of her weapons were missing. Her vehicle
And her ass needs to be in jail immediately.
was missing, in addition to her son. She also said that her son was with a companion and that they were dressed in camo.
That police chief says as officers were taking in information from the concerned mother and realizing the threat was growing, they got reports of an incident at the Islamic Community Center and dispatched themselves, where 3 adults were found dead, including a security guard who's being hailed as a hero for saving lives. Police scanner audio reveals the terrifying moments as this shooting unfolded.
2 white males, black masks.
2 white males, masks. They were wearing no camo.
1 with an automatic weapon, 1 with a shotgun. We're going to grab these 2 victims and we can do life-threatening measures.
10-4, grabbing victims to do life-saving measures.
Police say around the same time they were making entry, they got a call of a car a few blocks away that had shot at a landscaper who was going to be okay. And a couple blocks from that scene, they found the 2 suspects dead in a BMW from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The police chief says there was hateful rhetoric involved, and this is being investigated as a hate crime. Bill, Dana.
And one of those dead, a father of 8 children. Matt Finn, thank you. In San Diego, more to come, hopefully, throughout the day today. Learn more. Thanks.
And James Galliano, retired FBI supervisor, agent, and Fox News contributor, is here as well. Just one more piece of sound from the police chief, Scott Wall, on the mother that the juvenile is trying to alert authorities.
After speaking with the mom began to piece together bits and pieces of information over an extended period of time. The information that she was gathering and conveying to us began to elevate the threat level that we were perceiving with this information. She believed her son was suicidal.
What do you think of this case?
The mother did everything right, and obviously it was a grim scene yesterday, and we're still kind of piecing things together. Look, as far as a hate crime, I mean, the 2 decedents will not face charges. They're obviously dead in this instance. But trying to understand motivations, and again, Bill and Dana, here's something else. 17 and 18 years old. This has become an epidemic of Gen Z shooters, whether it's the assassination culture we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania, or in Utah with Tyler Robinson, and now these two young men. Most important thing, now that the initial interdiction is done, did anyone direct them to do these things, provide material support? Was anybody else involved in the conspiracy?
Yeah, like why were they the target? Why'd they pick that mosque? We don't know. There was something that was written that was found in this car. Whether it was a suicide note or some sort of manifesto, do we know about that at all?
You know what's crazy? You have God is good going in here, going off. You're not going to blame our president for this and threaten Christians every day. The hell away with your... He doesn't even realize that I don't think that Trump is at fault for this at all. That's the crazy thing. I don't think Trump is at fault for this at all. I think that people will blame Trump so that they don't have to acknowledge that the left wing in our country minimizes radical Islamic propaganda that is spread throughout our country. They minimize radicalized students on liberal college campuses like Columbia University, where pro-Palestine protesters held people hostage. Listen, pro-Palestine students held other students hostage on the campus of Columbia University. And they acted like it was not even a big deal. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this. Hamas, Palestine, they are Muslims. Pro-Muslim protesters held students hostage on the campus of Columbia University. And it was just swept under the rug like it never even happened. Then you say, well, why are there kids being radicalized against Islam? You got to call out both sides. Because the more you minimize what one side does, the more the other side feels unprotected. And if they feel unprotected, you know what they do? They protect themselves. And they'll be on defense for a while. And a lot of people love defense. But then a lot of people love offense too. And it goes the other way. If the Muslim community feels unprotected from Christians or nationalists, white nationalists, as they say, they're going to try to protect themselves. And some of them like offense more than defense, right? But in this country, we have a serious problem with calling out and investigating radical Islamic propaganda. They say you are an Islamophobe. You are a bigot. You are a xenophobe. You are a racist. And what does that do? All it does is make one group of people feel like they have no protection. That's where these type of attacks come from. That's where these type of attacks come from. People feeling like they got to do something. They see a threat that's not being addressed by the people who have been elected to serve and protect. And I brought up the fact that when the radical Islamic terrorists attacked that crowd of protesters in New York, Zohran Mamdani didn't go and condemn what they did. He immediately started attacking the peaceful protesters as racist bigots. And that makes the people who might agree with the protesters feel like, yo, we out here on our own. We got to do what we got to do. See, that's the problem. Yeah, the religious shootings are getting ridiculous. Like, you saw the situation that happened in Dearborn, Michigan, outside Dearborn. Do you feel like there was enough done to deal with that? After a dude drove a car into a synagogue and tried to kill people, did you hear or see our country move to calm down the anti-Semitic rhetoric? No. They just act like, oh, it's no big deal. This was an isolated incident. But none of these incidents are really isolated because a lot of people share the sentiment on both sides. And that's not being addressed. It's being ignored. We have a synagogue in here where I live in Long Beach, up off of Atlantic Street. Now, those Jewish people, they trying to go to church or synagogue. They're not president. Most of them ain't running nothing in Washington. Bro, you got a big-ass mob of people who have been radicalized against Jewish people by the internet, who show up in front of their synagogue and harass them as they going into worship. Fuck are you doing? What the hell are you doing? That synagogue been in this city since before I was even born. And ain't nobody been out there protesting and tripping. And then people been a part of the community forever, own businesses, do their business in Long Beach. Why all of a sudden, now they're evil today? Because TikTok said so? Because Rachel Maddow said so? Because some idiot on YouTube said so? Now you're tearing up your damn community, making people feel unsafe because you've been radicalized on the internet. Do you understand that both ways? Christian national racist groups and Islamic terrorist groups, do you know they use the internet as their primary tool for radicalizing people? You could look up how many people, regular people, white, black, blue, green, have been radicalized by the internet and have literally got on planes, flew to the Middle East. There was this white guy, bro. He was a successful guy in America. Bro got radicalized by ISIS on the internet. Bro took his wife and his kids, put them on a plane, flew himself with his wife and children on a plane to Syria to fight against the American army. That fool got killed. He got killed. All because he was just dumb. He got radicalized and, bro, you went to Syria to fight the most powerful military on earth with a bunch of dudes hiding in caves. That just shows you people are able to get indoctrinated, bro, through the TV, through the internet, through the screen. And when once they're indoctrinated, they can do anything. You can get them to do anything. Yo, what up, TSM?
Yo, what's up, Dick? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, man. You know, that's sad. That's really sad because, like we always say, we talk about everything, but that's the real cancer of America, man. People are sick in this country. Like you can say whatever we want, but the mental illness in this country is too much, man. People should not get killed like that while praying God, man. Doesn't matter which religion you are, you know. And
right.
like that, and that's what I always say about America. People talking about all those stuff, mass deportation, whatever. But what about mental illness? What about mental illness, bro? You know, we spend all this. That's what I'm saying all the time. We spend $9 billion for deport people, but we can even fix the healthcare for people who are mentally unstable. And that's crazy about America, man. People sleeping on the street. People like just killing people for no reason. Come on, man. How you can explain that to me? Explain that to me because I will never understand.
Well, a lot of people would argue that the money that we spend on illegals could be used to deal with the mental health issue in this country. When you see that they allowed almost 20 million people into the country, gave them free room and board, food stamps, free housing for months, even up to a year, and at a price tag of billions of dollars, and they did this illegally, by the way.
No,
people say, wait. People say, well, why couldn't we have used that money to deal with our mental health crisis?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's been like that. It's been like that for years, man.
I want you to listen to me. Listen to what listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
How many mental health facilities could you have built with the billions of dollars you wasted on illegal immigrants under Joe Biden?
Okay. You make a point. I think the real problem, you know what it is? It's the law. It's not a money problem. It's the law because, like, I think we have to blame the left on that because the left always been too nice with crazy people. They close all mental institutions. They make a law. If you're
Well,
homeless, you can.
actually, to
Yeah.
correct you, the right closed the mental institutions. As a conservative Republican, I can tell you Ronald Reagan closed all the mental institutions.
Yeah,
That
but
was
they
on
want to
us.
open back, though. I think they want to open back.
We want to open it back, but we are the ones who closed it down.
Yeah, because
But
I
now
know
the,
guys.
the Democrats have figured out a way to profit off of it, though.
Yeah. I think, like, this thing about I don't want to change the topic, but this thing about the LGBT community, all the money in this country going to the LGBT community. And what about people who did help? It's insane, bro. You got teenagers just killing people for no reason. And like we can say whatever we want, but America is sick.
Well, let me
I can
tell
tell
you.
you that.
Well, let me tell
Yeah.
you something. I'm going to tell you guys some things that you might not know about this situation. So I wasn't going to delve too deep on this because I don't want to vilify any group. I'm trying to be like a very like even kill guy on this situation. But one of the biggest things is that people have had a history of like issues with this mosque, the one where the shooting took place, right?
Yeah.
In two of the people, right? One thing that happened with this mosque that really turned the community, because the community surrounding that mosque, they have a problem with that mosque. And one of the reasons is that, while the mainstream media was reporting that law enforcement sources stated that hate speech and bigotry had been scrolled across a weapon, one of the attackers used, and they had pride, they expressed pride in being anti-Islamic. What people aren't gonna tell you is this mosque had a controversial history. There was a lot of controversy involving the mosque. Two of the 9/11 hijackers actually attended this mosque. You understand? Two of the people who don't say but
Go
two
for
of the
it.
people who hijacked planes during 9/11 attended this mosque, right? And the current imam, the guy who got on stage and was like, these are martyrs, these are heroes. And I really don't like that term martyr. I feel like that is an inherently incendiary term. But, he has said a lot of stuff about what happened on October 7th. He had a lot of kind of, unsavory things to say. Let's put it at that. Unsavory things to say about the October 7th situation. So while our hearts do go out to these people, I'm not going to pretend like they were just like, oh, they're just like they are innocent. They are innocent. But there is a history with this mosque that kind of turned the local community against it. Remember, he said he had dealt with a lot of stuff where people were rolling by, yelling at the mosque, putting graffiti on the mosque, all this type of stuff. Well, there was a reason that was happening. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it wasn't just
okay.
it happened in a vacuum. Let me play this real quick so people can know what's up.
How will they react to that?
But here's what people need to know about this mosque. The Islamic Center of San Diego has had a controversial reputation in the community for years because of its ties to two 9/11 hijackers. Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mehrdar were known to have attended the Islamic Center of San Diego while living in San Diego before the attacks. They also, learned how to fly planes in Miramar. And more recently, the mosque's imam, Taha Hassan, he became a controversial figure in the community himself. He was initially brought into San Diego for his interfaith efforts to help bridge relationships between the Muslim, Jewish, and Christian communities. But after October 7th, major outrage after making comments that resistance is justified when people are occupied, comments many people viewed as defending or rationalizing Hamas. He has spewed a lot of anti-Israel rhetoric from his pulpit. His wife also facing controversy after October 7th, after she posted an image depicting a Star of David beheading babies, a post that sparked outrage in the Jewish community. The mosque has also frequently held events with CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations. And as many of you know, CAIR was named in 2008 as an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest Hamas terror financing case in U.S. history, the Holy Land Foundation. CAIR has denied wrongdoing, was never charged with a crime, but the organization's history and ties have remained a source of controversy for years. Now, as we continue to follow this story, we don't know yet the full motive or the identity of the shooters.
All right. That was Stella Escobedo. She's a news anchor out of San Diego, currently with One American News Network, but also worked formerly for CBS affiliate. Bottom line is she lays it out, the history behind this mosque. So as the mainstream media ramps up their propaganda, I want to make sure that you get all of the information that is available at this point. I told you, people on the right, particularly people who don't like Muslims, you will hear them spew words that say all Muslims need to be deported. That's what you'll hear. On the left, you'll hear gun control. And when it comes to the media, you're going to hear lies and them misleading you. But the fact remains regarding this story, it's a tragedy. No place of worship, regardless of the religion, should be targeted. And the bottom line here is I believe this is a breakdown again of the family. Because that young man lost his way somewhere, somehow. And where was his father? It's a very good question. One more.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, me and Devori, we basically agree on that situation. Like, bro, how's this kid getting guns? Like, the mom needs to be charged, bro. You already know your son is suicidal. You know he has an issue, mental issue. And you're putting guns to where this guy could get to him? At that point, the guns need to go be sold or go into a storage unit where bro has no access.
Can you hear me, Brandon?
Go ahead. Yeah, I hear you.
And you know what pissed me off? Because even in the video, people say, all Muslims should get deported. What stupid thing. I mean, look, they got some Muslim out here. They're patriot, bro. They like this country. They work for the army. They work for the police. They're Congress member. They pay their taxes. And deport them all. Some Americans convert to Muslim. So ignorant, bro. He's insane to me. He's insane. He's insane, bro.
I think people say stuff like that because they're just ignorant. You know, they're not trying to deal. You know, people want the solutions to be simple. Just get rid of them all. You can't do that. There's many Muslims who are citizens of this country, and they have as much right to be here as anybody else in America.
Of course, and they born and raised here. They get converted.
Yeah.
They convert themselves to Islam or whatever religion they want.
Yeah.
You know,
what I think is the media is radicalizing Americans against each other.
I think so, yeah. I think so. And the thing is, like, America has so much money, they can fix this fucking problem about mental illness, bro.
The problem is journalism is protected by the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
So it's like freedom of the press. So they get away with a lot of things because they say, well, it's our constitutional right. But there was something passed by, signed into law by Obama that kind of removed the guardrails for the media outlets. Like one of the things I do not believe that a credible media outlet should be able to host entertainment shows like The View. I don't think ABC should be able to report the news and host The View on the same channel because people will think that what the people on The View are saying is verified information. And it's not. That's why you see even when they talk sometimes, they get notes in the middle of the show that say, hey, correct that. That's wrong. Why is MSNBC able to present Rachel Maddow in one capacity as a journalist and then present her in another capacity as a talk show host where she can lie and she's not held to the standard of a journalist on that show, but then on another show, she's presenting herself as a journalist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but look, Brandon. Last time, remember, you saw even the raid, what happened at McCarthy Park? You saw that?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I saw, because I live by, right? So the Fed raids McCarthy Park, and they took they took away some drug dealers, some Mexicans and blacks, the gang over there, okay?
Man,
And
you're
the
lying. Black people don't deal drugs.
no,
Stop it.
I think they left few black people, just some drug addict with them.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And the thing is, like, what happened is, like, they took away some drug dealers, and I saw the DOJ talking and say, hey, the girl was saying, hey, what about the crackhead, they smoke drug over there? How can we remove them? Oh, no, because like we can't take them away. That's the state job. Put those motherfucking crackheads in jail, bro.
Yeah, but
They're in jail, man.
But there's a difference between federal law and state law. So
Well, that's-
like smoking crack is not a federal offense. That's a state law that prohibits that.
and
So
the thing
the
is, it should be-
traffickers were going across the state lines and the country lines, the national lines. Therefore, the feds have authority to arrest them and put them in jail. And I understand you're saying it should be, but the states are sovereign, and
Yeah,
they do
the
not
state-
give the federal government that type of power.
And the state is too nice, my G. The state is too nice because that's the downfall of America.
The
They got to-
the state politicians benefit from that stuff.
Yeah,
Like Gavin Newsom, they benefit from that.
And it's so sad, man. It's so sad because like they're killing this country, bro. You saw even McCarthy Park is so beautiful.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It is illegal. Let me tell you something. It is illegal to even drink a can of beer in a public park. It is illegal to even bring alcohol into a public park. It's illegal to bring drugs into a public park. So the state, why aren't they enforcing the law? Anyone caught with drugs in a public park can be imprisoned. They can be put in jail.
Yeah.
I remember when I was young at TSM, if they caught you drinking in a public park, you got arrested. Think about that. Now you can smoke crack all up in the park and they won't do anything.
It's crazy. It's crazy, Reggie. And the thing is, like, for real, like, look, I'm so upset. Like, that's why sometimes I'm thinking of going back to France. Because for real, I don't have a kid, the crackheads around my kids like that. And look, we deal with mass shooting in America.
Right.
And it's so sad because I always say America is one of the beautiful countries I never saw in my life. Not in terms of the building, in terms of like the landscape, you know?
Right.
And we got those fucking toxic people, crackhead, mass shooter, racist, stupidity. And
but you have people with toxic empathy, suicidal empathy, man.
Yeah,
they
you
feel
just saw
so
that.
sorry for everyone that they'll let it happen. If I went to the park and kicked the crackhead out the park, get out of here, kids are playing. There's some white person who will come and they'll start going at me. You don't understand. They have a problem. Okay, well, let's fix this problem.
Exactly. But you know what? Because those people, I know what it is. Those people, they know on the mass number is going to be black people will be like that, and they're okay with it. They're
Look at
okay
Skid
with
Row.
it.
Look at Skid Row.
Yeah. And honestly, like, we'd have to clean this shit up. Enough is enough.
People don't understand this. If you ever come to LA, 95% of the people on Skid Row are black.
Yes.
You don't see much Mexicans. You don't see any whites. You don't see any Asians. They are black.
And I believe he was a part of the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was yeah.
Skid Row is the highest concentration of black people in Los Angeles County.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And most of them, they're not from LA.
No.
They're from Midwest. They're from all over. And you know what? I start to see on Skid Row too. I start to see some Africans.
Yeah.
Europeans.
Yep.
Last time I was walking, I saw a girl. She was begging for money. I heard her accent. I said, "Where are you from?" She told me she's from UK.
Yeah.
Really?
Because, you know, they'll get out here. They'll come out here, bro. They'll go to Hollywood or whatever. They'll have ambition. I want to be an actress, singer, or whatever. Once the Johns and the Tricks stop paying, where can they go? They go down there. Some of those girls, they'll meet a guy. He'll send them down there to be a prostitute. They get hooked on drugs and they get strung out.
And it's insane because, like, you know, America has everything. They got the infrastructure. They got everything, but people doing bullshit and they read their life away doing some criminal shit, doing some drugs.
Yeah.
And how we can fix that? My question is how we can fix the mental illness in America.
All you have to do, look, TSM, let me tell you something. I wish you grew up here. The way to fix this is to do what we did before. When I was a kid, bro, there wasn't all this drug use in public and all these bums everywhere. We stopped enforcing the law. We stopped making people fear the law. Do you know fear of the law will make people not use drugs? There are some people who fear going to jail more than they want to use drugs. When I was younger, I met people like that. There were people who were like, bro, I would never touch this stuff. I ain't trying to go to jail. I ain't trying to get arrested. Now, a crackhead will sit right in the middle of downtown LA in front of Whole Foods and light up a crack pipe.
Yeah,
Back in the day, you got arrested for that. Possession of a controlled substance, they get you for like 10 different charges. Now, they just walk by like it's no big deal.
And actually, go ahead. And actually, it's so crazy. You can see someone taking drugs, and you can see the cops pass by laughing, and you can see the crackhead next to the kids. They don't care.
They don't care. I mean, because what else? What can they do? If they arrest the person, they'll get in trouble. The mayor will come down on them. The mayor is their boss.
And last time, what pissed me off, even this dumbass Karen Bass, last time when the ice raised over there, because I'm an immigrant myself, but enough is enough. Look, even the Reds, when the feds raid the park the first time, she was on the TV saying, this is a playground for kids. Come on, bro.
It was nothing but drug addicts. It's nothing but drug addicts.
It's insane.
Nobody
it's
would.
insane.
No one would let their kids play at MacArthur Park. If you let your kids play at MacArthur Park, you are a horrible parent.
And the thing is, like, she was comfortable with that. She was comfortable trying to say, it's a playground for kids. Come on, you can't say that.
And let me tell you this. Here's the worst part. How many crackheads go vote? How many junkies go vote? None. So they find a population who doesn't vote at all, and they use people's toxic empathy for that population to get them to vote against their own best interest.
Exactly, because what she tried to do, because Missy, she want to be so nice with the Latino community. I don't want to have the Latino community because it's my vote base.
And she has a Latino husband.
It's insane. It's insane to me. And like, you know, like, the nice thing about the discussion is like, LA, from LA, you can see a lot of how the future of this world is gonna be.
Yeah.
Like, for real, like, I got some friends, they've been all over the world, but they say what you're seeing in LA is a Mad Max. You can see how the world is gonna be from the next 10, 20 years.
Well, yeah, it's going to be dystopian. Like, it's not all the way there yet, but man, listen, bro, if you go downtown LA at night, you are not safe. I want to tell everybody right here, if you go downtown LA at night without a gun, you are not safe. The police will not stop to help you. Like, they will roll by like nothing's happening. And I promise you, like, you could kill somebody down there, and they probably won't even find a body till 2 days later, man.
Look, you can be at the bar in downtown LA, walking with your girlfriend on the alley. They got some guys jump on you, want to try to get your girl numbers.
Yeah, or beat up your girlfriend because she won't give them her number.
It's insane. And you can see literally people with no shoes off. And watch, the World Cup is coming next month, and the Olympic is coming. How are they gonna take care of this shit?
No, bro, they're already cleaning it up. Bro, they are already... Bro, look, since the World Cup said it was coming, and since the Olympics said they were coming, bro, you'll notice, slowly but surely, the homeless encampments are disappearing. Remember Gavin Newsom just got Supreme Court to pass the law where they say he can remove homeless encampments?
I want to see that.
Do you remember that? Bro, they just did it.
Yes.
These guys are so horrible. They for years they were like, there's nothing we can do. Gavin Newsom, Supreme Court homeless encampments. Look. Bro, 8 months ago, as soon as they were like, oh, the World Cup is coming here, all of a sudden he could fix the problem. Bro, I know that they could fix the problem because when I was a kid, this was not a problem. They would arrest you outside too late. They would even put a curfew in. And if you didn't have ID, they would arrest you. It's bullshit. They enforce the law when they feel like it, when it benefits them. Watch this.
That homeless encampment initiative is our top story tonight. Fox 11's Nick Garcia, he kicks us off live in Santa Monica with what the governor has laid out and also how people on the streets are reacting. Nick?
Yes, Marla, that's right. Ocean Park Community Center is a shelter here in Santa Monica, just down the road from me. It's where some people might end up when their encampment gets cleared out. That's something we're set to see more of with this new effort from the governor. For years, homeless encampments have taken over sidewalks and vacant lots across the Southland. It's been just over a year since Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order directing encampment cleanups, and now he says he's boosting that effort by launching the State Action for Facilitation on Encampments, or SAFE, task force. But even before the task force has been able to start, we observed many of the commonly known encampment locations in Hollywood and Van Nuys have already been cleared.
It keeps the streets clean because if you're too many people like that without restrooms and stuff like that in an area for too long, it just gets dirty and it's just disgusting, really. Right. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Erin has been unhoused for 14 years and has lived in encampments before. Now she's mostly staying in a shelter. Not everyone living on the streets agrees with her.
You get a community out of being in an encampment.
Tyrone says he's been homeless since the pandemic and has had a hard time getting back on his feet.
I get it. Until you're homeless, until you don't want it around you, but you want the help for them, but you don't want it, not in my city though. So, I mean, where?
The task force will focus on state rights of way like highways and freeways and other state property. The governor's office says since July of last year, Caltrans has removed 81 encampments in the city of LA. Resources and shelter are often offered to the people being forced to move. Some take the help, others don't.
We just want to be able to have a safe place to sleep.
For Chloe, who's sleeping in shelters now, she says she's concerned about where all the people currently living in encampments will go, especially with limited shelter space.
It's not like people want a fancy home. They just want four walls and a roof. They're just a safe place to sleep.
Yeah, and that lady's a fucking liar, and she's an idiot. They don't want no damn four walls. They can have a four walls if that's what they want. They want to stay up all night. Bro, I worked on Skid Row for 2 years. Those people want to stay out all night, get high, act crazy as hell, strip off their clothes in the middle of the street, and what they do is they'll all go out trying to get dope. And then once they go out, they'll all come back and they'll smoke the dope together, bro. So,
exactly.
So do you think someone who wants to be out to get dope, you think they really want to go inside a facility at night? They don't.
They don't. You know what? I grew up in Paris. Paris also have a crackhead. If you go to Paris, we do have some crackhead. But I tell you what, as soon as they sleep on the street like that, they get locked up, my G. They get fucking locked up right away. They don't play with that shit. You can get high, but you're not gonna get six months like on the street like that.
No, yeah. There is no excuse for Skid Row, bro. There's no excuse.
And when I see, that's why always I come to the show, I talk about the $190 billion is going to the DHS. Come on. You can give like a little 10 million to clean up Skid Row, please? No, for real. For real. I know America, we have to secure the border. I get that. we have to deport some illegal alien criminals. I get that, but you can't have a little $1 billion for Skid Row. I don't get that, bro.
Bro, they've spent $37 billion on Skid Row, bro. What do you mean? Gavin Newsom lost the money and said he couldn't tell you where it went.
No.
They stole the money.
No. They stole the money and giving you some nuance about it. But I
Hey,
tell you what.
don't let him lie to you about Paris, bro.
Look at this. No,
Don't
I've
let
been
him
to
lie to you
Paris.
about
I've been
Paris.
to
Don't let him
Paris.
lie to you about Paris.
You
Paris
walk-
got
you
some
walk through
dirty ass places.
No, it got some
No.
dirty places. But what
Yeah.
I'll say about Paris is they decriminalized all the drugs. So when you walk through the park, dudes would be like, "Bro, you want the coke, crack? I got the." They decriminalized. But I don't see large homeless encampments in Paris.
No. You
I
got
didn't see
locked up
anything
over
like that. I saw some pissy ass trains and some pissy ass walkways, but I didn't see no homeless encampments.
And look, let me tell you something. I remember when I was a kid in Paris in early 90s. Let me tell you something. Some Africans and, black, whatever immigrant used to protest. Okay? The city of Paris used to pull up with the cops, with the buses. Buses, bro. Put everybody on the bus and send them away.
Yeah.
France, Germany, they don't play with that
Do,
shit.
do you realize that Paris, the system that Paris is under, is different than the system that the U.S. is under?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The basic
It does kind of matter.
The basic
Because there's probably
tenets of the law.
There's probably case law on homelessness and how you can forcefully remove homeless and all this other stuff. You don't think so? You want to put money on it?
I mean, what I would say about the case law is there are laws in the book that make it very hard for someone to sleep in a homeless encampment on the street. Like I'll give you an example. You can't sleep in your car in this where I live in the city of Long Beach. It is illegal to sleep in your car. So if it's illegal to sleep in your car, to live in your car in my city, how is it legal to live on the sidewalk?
Because that's just potentially where case law took it.
But what I'm saying
that's
is,
even true.
No, this is true. Okay, so you can't sleep in your car, which is yours. It's yours. It's your property. It's parked on a public street. So the problem is where they go is they say you're sleeping in public, even though you're in your car, you're on the public street. A person in a tent is on a public street. They just pick and choose when they want to enforce the law. That's the problem. That's the issue people like me have. The laws are on the books, but the mayors will prevent the police officers from enforcing the law.
It's insane. It's insane, man. It's insane. Honestly, she dropped on that. Karen Bass should drop on that. She has to be more strict.
Do you know what random independent? Do you know what loitering is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are laws against loitering. You can't stand in front of a business for more than 30 minutes, I think, without moving along, unless you are like sitting in a patio area or something. You have bums laying in front of the doorway of Starbucks all day long.
It's crazy.
A blanket on the ground.
What would you propose is a solution? Because let's say there's
enforce the law. Hey,
I understand that.
If you're here when I get back,
okay, I understand that. So what would the law be? To arrest them and lock them up?
It would be a loitering law. This is when I was a kid, and we would come out of the movies, and it'd be nighttime, and we would all gather and hang out in front of the movie theater.
I got that, but so you arrest them? Let's go down this train. Let's go down this train.
If you would listen, the police would come by and say, "If you're here when we get back, you're getting arrested." And they would arrest you.
Just said all that, and okay, that's great. So you arrest them, you lock them up, you book them. Costs money. All that shit costs money, right? You lock them up. It's probably not even misdemeanor, or it's a misdemeanor or citation, whatever you.
If they have
a
a
misdemeanor
controlled
because you get
substance,
arrested.
that's a felony.
So if they have that, sure. So you lock them up, and they're probably out, and so you wasted the judge's time because they're not a threat to the people. They're not a threat to the people. Shut up, TSM. They're not a threat to the people or anything like that, so they're going to get released out on bail. If you try to fine them, they don't have any money to pay it. So all that money that it just costs to take them into jail, not even to stay there overnight or to stay there locked up for multiple nights or however long, you're not recouping that at all. So you're gonna have to tax people more. So then they do it again, and then eventually you arrest them again, and it goes on, and then and then the judge is like, you know what? You haven't learned your lesson. We're gonna lock you up for 30 days. So now they're locked up for 30 days. Off of the taxpayer expense, right? So locking them up is not a good solution because it just is a revolving door where it's just going to keep happening. Or you're paying $40,000 a year to house them locked up. So there has to be a better solution. And so I agree with you about.
Think too much.
I agree.
I
think too much about
solving the. It's not true.
I think too much about solutions. I agree.
Bro.
So
That's
to your
bullshit.
point, Brandon, I agree with you about it being a problem, but there has to also be locking them up is not a solution because it just costs a bunch of money. I'm not really pro that.
Let me
bro.
I'm sorry, it costs a bunch of money with no positive outcome.
No, you're wrong. And the reason why I say you're wrong is because this is the issue. It's not so much that you want to put them in jail and keep them there. It's not so much that you even want to criminalize what they're doing. What you want to do is you want to keep these people out of public space, community spaces, right? When I used to live, when Long Beach used to have a park called Lincoln Park, right? And Lincoln Park was downtown Long Beach, but it was very close to the bridge that goes over to San Pedro, right? Homeless people would gather in that park. They would stay there all day, all night. Nobody tripped on them because the park was like out of the way. It was near the freeway, right? They tore down that park and rebuilt it. When they tore down all the buildings in that park, all the homeless people flooded into downtown Long Beach. It's kind of like if you tore down Skid Row. The homeless people would then flood into the main area of downtown, Figueroa and all that. They will flood into those areas because where they normally hang out is gone. When you criminalize what they're doing, they have incentive to hide what they're doing, right? If a dope fiend wants to do dope and he spends 30 days in jail where he can't get to dope, when he gets out of jail, do you think he's going to go smoke dope in front of Starbucks? Or do you think he's going to go, or do you think he's going to go into an alley or an abandoned house or out of the way to go smoke dope so he doesn't get arrested?
A homeless person getting locked up. It's a terrible analogy, though.
You're not listening to me.
I am listening.
If you smoke dope,
think about what you're talking about.
I want you to think about what I'm saying. Hold on, TSM. Hold on, TSM. If you smoke dope and your goal is to get high every day, but you know if the police see you getting high, they will take you to jail and you will be in jail for 30 days and you will not get to get high. Do you think you would smoke dope publicly, which is what we see right now, sitting on a public sidewalk in the middle of downtown LA smoking dope? Or will you do what dope fiends used to do? Go find a secluded area, a private area to go get high. You're not in front of Starbucks shitting on the sidewalk. If you know if you get busted with that crack pipe and that dope, you're going to be in jail for 30 days and you'll be away from the dope. Crackheads and criminals are very intelligent. And that's what they used to do back in the day. They would hide what they did and that would keep them. Criminals used to operate in the shadows. Now, because we've decriminalized everything, criminals operate in the light of day. We just want them to go back into the shadows where they were before so that they're not interfering with our ability to do what we got to do every day. So they're not ruining our experience when we trying to go downtown and visit the sites and tour and all that.
Exactly, Brandon. Can I talk?
Oh my God. No, you can't.
Let him rebuttal real quick, 30 seconds, then GSM will go to you.
Oh, 30 seconds. Goddamn.
Just go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood. I thought you guys were trying to solve the problem, not just push it to the side where you can't see it anymore. That's one. Two, a terrible analogy. A drug addict doesn't want to go to jail because they're going to have withdrawals. They want to get high. A homeless person going to jail is going to get what they need. They need, or what they can't get on the outside, which is food, three hots and a cot, right? So to say, like, to try to draw the analogy when a drug addict needs that shit versus, and inside they can't get it, versus a homeless person who needs shelter, who needs food, and is going to get that on the inside.
You don't understand the homeless situation in Los Angeles.
That's fine. That's separate. That's fine. That's fine. No, because
it's not fine.
At the end of the day, it's irrelevant. No, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is irrelevant to your point. Because at the end of the day, what I'm saying is irrelevant to your. Can I finish?
Bro, what you're saying shows that you're ignorant of the situation.
That's fine, but that is fine. Homeless people in LA are not homeless. Bro, you can save your breath. I understand that might be the case. That's fine. But what I'm saying is irrelevant. I'm just adding this because this is my perspective before you said it. But at the end of the day, you don't care about helping them or them doing better. You just want them out the way. And I can understand that. So what I'm saying is relevant to those people.
No, but listen to what I'm telling you. You're saying that the homeless people in LA, they want a home, so if they go to jail, they're getting what they want. The homeless people in LA are not truly homeless. That's what
I
you
know
don't
they
understand.
live outside because I understand.
These people want to be outside. So being in jail, that's torture for them. They don't want to go to jail because they want to get high all night. My aunt is a dope fiend, bro. She has an apartment with keys that she got through Section 8. She's never there. I could go to her. I should go to her house and do this damn live stream every day because I would have like my own studio right there for free because she's never there. So what I'm telling you is the ones who are homeless because they want to be outside doing dope and stuff, they will then be incentivized to go hide and operate in the shadows. The ones who are home, and then that would free up the space for the people who are truly homeless to get the help they need. Because the problem we have in LA is dope fiends who are homeless, quote unquote, are blocking up the damn system. They're clogging up the damn pipeline so that people who truly are homeless, they can't get to the resources. Because the workers, if one person is homeless, but they got, let's say they got a job, right? They at work 8 hours a day. They ain't in Skid Row where all the social workers are with the clipboards, signing people up for Section 8, giving people free housing vouchers immediately, emergency food stamps and all that. So they don't even, they're working, trying to do something with themselves. And the true bums, the true drug addicts, they're receiving all the services. And then there's nothing left for the people who really need the help. That's why you need to get the dope fiends, criminalize the drugs. Either they're going to go hide and do it, or they're not, or they're going to get arrested, right? Which will then make them like, I don't want to be in jail for 30 days. I want to get high. They might even get clean while they're in jail and say, you know what? I'm on a different path. Sometimes jail is treatment because some people just need to be separated from that vice. It worked. It was working back in the day, bro. And when they decriminalized it, when they made it socially acceptable to see a dope fiend sitting in front of Starbucks and a person high walking around talking to the stars, butt naked. There's a woman by not near my house, but downtown. Bro, this woman hangs out on the same corner every day, butt ass naked. She will have clothes on in the morning. By the time she gets high, bro, she is butt ass naked on that corner all damn day.
Do you think the lack of space in jails and the lack of whether it be DAs taking it and going the prosecution route and judge sentencing them, do you think that has an impact on the enforcement by law enforcement?
No, I think that the money. No, I
think. Okay,
that
so I'll give an example real quick, which is why I think that it does probably because I know in North Carolina at least there's a lot of issues with lower level crime or nuisances.
I'm sorry. Keep going. My bad.
Oh, you're good. A lot of like the lower crime and stuff like that, where officers might not even deal with, like, might even arrest them or anything because they know they're going to be let out again, and it's just not like nothing's going to change. So they even waste your time with it. And so when you talk about this, I'm not in LA. I'm not, from California. I've only visited once. I wouldn't be surprised if law enforcement doesn't see a reason to enforce the laws that are on the books when they know they're going to get locked up and out. Like, why do the paperwork? Nobody wants to go through that paperwork for no reason. And so if the jails are full, and if they're not full, locking those people up you guys got a lot of homeless out there that are doing this type of thing that based off of what you're saying. So the jails are going to be full after them for sure, right? Yeah. And so it's a bigger issue than just, or it's a bigger conversation than just saying lock them up, because that doesn't solve the issue. And
here's the thing. You have to rethink what incarceration looks like for the people who are convicted of drug crimes, right? If you got somebody who's just a dope fiend getting arrested for possession, he's not a dope dealer, he's not violent, it's not violent. Why can't you just build dorm-style housing facilities where they serve their time there? Like, hey,
I'm not saying you can't.
No, and but what I'm telling you is that's what we could have spent the $34 billion we wasted and don't nobody know where it went. We could have spent it on that. If you got a dorm with 30 crackheads, you don't need 1,500 guards. You need 1 guard, 2 guards. That's it.
Right, crackheads are strong. You tripping?
But what I'm saying is, well, they won't be on crack now, will they? But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, the way you handle their incarceration is different than how you would handle the incarceration of murderers, killers, all that. You could even have civilian workforce working in a facility that is just for people who have been arrested for non-violent drug-related crimes. And you could send them there, and the focus could be treatment, rehabilitation, all that stuff. And that, because what I'm telling you is we're spending the money already. That's what
you sound like a liberal.
No. What I'm saying is
kind of sound like liberal right now.
No. I'm a conservative because we've already spent the money already, bro.
That's what they're saying. That's what liberals say. They say defund the police, and they don't mean actually defund the police. They're just saying take some of that money and put it in social services.
Before we ever defunded the police, right? Before we ever did that, hold on, TSM. Before we ever defunded the police, right? We had already spent like 20-something billion on homelessness. LA, California has the money to deal with this issue. We receive the money from the federal government. The defund the police bullshit was just the poison pill that they fed to the radical liberals to take the focus off of, hey, we have money, but we're stealing it. So it's like, that was what it's like right now, Becerra and the people who are running for governor of California, they're on Trump because he froze federal funds to California, right? They're like, Trump needs to give us the money for healthcare. Trump is like, y'all already got money. I'm not giving you more money to waste to give healthcare to illegals. Your money will be frozen until we audit what you're doing with your money. But if the candidates for governor can convince people in California, Trump's freezing your money because he's racist and he doesn't want us to give immigrants health care. Not realizing that the motivation behind it is not race at all. The motivation behind it is auditing, mismanagement.
The motivation behind it is that's a blue state and he has a hard on for power.
Trump gave Gavin. No. You're wrong. Trump gave Gavin
does not care about targeting any red states.
Bro,
he only cares about targeting blue states.
What I'm telling you is what you're saying is logically, factually untrue. Trump gave Gavin Newsom $11 billion for his railway project. He gave Gavin Newsom billions already. Not a single piece of track has been laid. You can't say Trump has any issue with the state being blue when Trump gave billions to Newsom to help build that railway, and to this day, Newsom hasn't laid a single piece of track.
First of all, Newsom can't lay any track. First of all, second of all,
he could have.
No, I don't know when he gave the money. Newsom, no. There's a lot of bureaucracy that goes in between laying anything down.
They're stealing
that's
the
one.
money.
Two,
bro, listen.
Is your argument, are you going to sit here and say with a straight face, is your argument that Trump treats blue states and red states the same objectively?
Listen.
Is that your argument?
Historically speaking, Donald Trump has been very fair with blue states versus red states.
You think he treats them the same?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
There are
how many audits has he done? How many audits has he done of red states?
He doesn't listen. He
said the whole system was messed up. How many audits has he done of red states?
Let me explain to you. Trump requests the information. How many? I want the reports.
Legally or illegally, he requested. Yeah, I agree.
Listen, he legally can do it.
No, he legally can't do it. He can request information all he wants. The information he requests and under what he requests.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, listen, Trump requests the information. The states either turn it over or they say no. If they don't turn the information over, Trump suspends federal funding. If Trump believes that you are using federal funds to give illegal immigrants food stamps, housing, all this, by law, he has the right to suspend funds. And when Trump requests the audits from the red states, they hand over the information requested. The blue states refuse to hand over the information because if they do, the federal government will be able to target illegal immigrants. So Trump says, if you don't want to hand over the information, then we're going to suspend your federal funding. You don't keep giving money to somebody who won't explain to you where the money is going, but keep telling you that they ran out of money. Gavin Newsom admitted that he did not know where 34...
So why do you pay taxes?
Why they take it out of my check?
Federal taxes. Okay,
they take it out of my check.
Do you hold that? I guess I should ask. Do you hold
You're
that?
You're moving
same
the goalpost.
I'm asking.
You
no,
said
it's the same
something
thing
that
you
was
just
not
said.
true. I proved
It
that
is
it was
true. He does not treat blue and red states the
He
same.
does.
That's a fact. He doesn't.
All right, bro.
How
Give
many
me an
audits?
example.
So you're telling me, all right, so it's just logical. You're telling me that no red states have any fraud in them. Is that what you're telling me?
They turn over the requested
I'm
documents.
asking you, do they have any fraud
They
in them?
have fraud in them.
Okay.
And when they are
So-
asked to listen, when the government asks to audit the state, the red states allow the government auditors in to do the audits.
So
the blue states
listen
try
to what
to
you're saying.
block
Listen to
them.
what you're saying. There's fraud in all these states. And the red states go, yeah, we have fraud. Here, come look at it. That's what
Yeah.
the blues. That's what you honestly believe, or do you think it's more like, hey, we're a red state. We know you're not going to punish us because we're on your side, so you can do whatever you want.
Listen.
Do you think my argument is that red states, whether they say yes or no, they have fraud in them? The Republican Party knows that there's fraud in these states. They don't care because it's not a blue state and they can use it as a political talking point. So they can audit all the records they want and they can just ignore the records in those states. That is my argument. And that is what I think is more likely happening than what you're believing is, which is that Trump treats everybody fairly and blue states just aren't handing over records, even though you can even go to something that doesn't require handing over records like disaster relief funds and stuff like that, where you see a huge drop off of acceptance and approval for blue states versus red states, which have had no drop off whatsoever. You can look at different things that don't require, the government saying, hey, give us this stuff, and then a bureaucracy battle happening because the federal government doesn't just get to say, hey, give us everything you have, and the state government has to agree. That's not how it works.
True. That is true.
That's not true.
If when it comes to federal
I can give you an example right now.
All right, go ahead.
Well, go ahead with your federal dollar.
When it comes to federal dollars, they can suspend federal funding. Trump has done it to many states that he thought were illegally using federal money to provide healthcare for illegals.
I agree. He uses pretenses like these that you're talking about to suspend certain things to blue states. I agree with you. I'm not saying that the fraud isn't there or that this, that, or the other. I'm saying he uses the pretense to treat blue states different than he treats the red states. The red states have fraud. We know these politicians.
All the states have fraud.
I understand that. And you're saying that the red states are saying yes. So what has been the punishments for these red states that show them the fraud that they have in their state? Tell me what the punishment. Tell me what the punishment.
Well, the initial punishment is if they find out you've lost billions in funding from fraud, they'll remove that funding and say, hey, you don't need this much because
I'm asking for a specific. You gave a specific example of California. Yes. We can bring up specific examples with Minnesota and these other blue states, or at least swing states. I'm asking you, give us a specific example because you just said all these states have fraud, and you're saying red states are handing over their records so that the audit can happen.
Here's the thing you need to do: give me an example of where fraud took place in red states to the extent it took place in blue states.
We agree. It doesn't have to be to the extent. We agree that fraud is there. Do we agree that fraud is there? Do we agree that the red states have fraud?
We all know fraud is there. But give me an example.
Should fraud be punished? Can you punish fraud in all 50 states at once?
You can punish fraud if it's proven that the people who are elected to admit. Wait, if you can prove that the people who were a part of the administration of the state were complicit, yes.
Yeah,
if it was done under their nose, no. No one can monitor every little thing.
That's what you just said, and we are in agreement now after what you just said, that the level of fraud is irrelevant to whether they should be punished, right? So what I'm asking you is, in these red states, which one of them have handed over the documents, the records of their fraud, and the government said, hey, this is fraudulent, and what was their punishment? Because they've been doing this fraud for years now, so what was their punishment? Did they get funding taken away? Did they get it suspended? What was the punishment to these red states? We already agree that there's fraud in all these states, right? These politicians are not. We agree that these politicians are not clean, right? Yeah, you're saying that the federal government requested records from these red states that you already say is fraud. There's fraud in them, right? You already say that. So the federal government requested the records. You're saying, oh, when the red states get requested records, they give them all the records. They give them the records of the fraudulent activities. So therefore, we agree that it's fraudulent activities in red states. Federal government requested. We agree that the red state governments give up all the records of their fraud to the federal government. What has been the repercussions of the fraud in these red states?
Well, we don't know what fraud was found. I can't say that I can't say that I know specifically instances of large-scale fraud that was found in red states. Neither can you.
Okay.
Because those states weren't losing $18 billion in
What are you
ridiculous
red
amounts.
states operate in a deficit.
Just tell me where there was multiple billions of dollars worth of fraud in red
Why
states.
does it have to be multiple? All right, so how about this? How about instead of multi-billions, because these red states are poor anyway, so trying to compare it to California, which is like the 7th richest, if it was a country, it'd be like the 7th richest country on earth, compared to something, let's say like Alabama. Let's say there was $100 million in fraud in Alabama. What should the repercussion be?
They should do what they're doing to California, where they suspend federal funding.
Okay, if you were to average each state's fraud level percentage-wise, how much fraud do you think there is on average in each state?
I know that the blue states are leading by a lot in fraud.
That's fine. That's fine. Blue states can be leading. That's fine. But how much do you think the average? All right, sure. How much do you think the average is in blue states? How much do you think the average is in red states?
I don't know.
Just how much do you think? Do you think it's like 10% of the government's operations? Do you think it's like 50%?
No, 10%.
And blue or red?
No, it's not even 10% in California. Probably like 4%.
Oh, I think it's probably more than that.
No.
All right. Fraud, waste, and abuse. Maybe the waste is being. I'm being generous with the waste there and combining with fraud. But okay, so 3%. So if I look at Alabama, we can just look up Alabama's or Mississippi or any of these other poor ass red states, their total revenue or whatever you want to call it for a state, and 2% of that or something like that. That's the amount of fraud. We can just say, hey, this is the amount of fraud they have. What should be their punishment? Because now we agree that there is a certain amount of fraud and it's 2% of whatever their budget is. Therefore, the punishment should align with that amount of fraud. What punishment has there been?
I think the funds should be suspended.
But has that happened?
Well, we have to identify what fraud.
But we agree. We already agree that there's fraud in these red states.
I know that. We agree that there's fraud in all states, right?
Yes, and we agree that in the blue states they're being picked on and made examples of.
I don't think they're being picked on.
Sure, they're not being picked on. Whoa, okay. Well, let's say we agree on that. They're being targeted. We know that these blue states and these swing states, any state that goes against Trump, says something negative about Trump, gets targeted. We know this.
Okay.
Right? So with the red states, what has the punishment been?
I believe with the red. Okay, so here's the thing. All the states are required to report fraud in their state. So if you report the fraud, you don't get a punishment because you're reporting, hey, this much fraud took place. The blue states, they hide the fraud. Then when they get caught hiding it, that's when the funds get suspended. Because there's a federal attorney in every state who investigates fraud. So it's like Gavin Newsom, they hide the fraud because.
So you believe all the red states have their fraud out in the open and they don't hide any fraud?
I believe they report their fraud.
All their fraud they report.
So.
You think the criminals are self-reporting?
No, I don't necessarily believe all the elected officials are criminals in red states. I don't even think all elected officials are criminals.
But they would be. No, I'm saying they would be the ones committing the fraud. Like the politicians are the one committing the fraud. I'm not saying that's necessarily all of them, but the politicians, by definition, we're talking about the governments, right? So it's political or public officials. They're the ones committing the fraud. I'm asking you, think that the ones committing the fraud are self-reporting their fraud up to their superiors, who are then reporting it up higher?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think criminals are self-reporting? Yeah, no, they're not.
No. I don't. You have to prove somebody is guilty of doing something before they're labeled a criminal. This is America. That's how it works.
No, in the legal system, yeah, but we're in
socialism.
We're even in a socialist that it doesn't work like that.
Yes, it do.
And it can.
All right, so I'm gonna pull this up right here. So look, a nationwide 10.6 billion healthcare fraud case, Operation Gold Rush, involved multiple states. California saw 490 million in pandemic-related fraud. Kansas and Louisiana both reported high rates of pandemic unemployment fraud. But you see how they reported it with estimates of 25% and 17% of benefits being fraudulent, respectively.
What was their punishment?
They reported the fraud to the government.
It's California saw over Kansas, Louisiana reported high. It's the same. It's the same thing.
What you have to know, you don't know what you're talking about. What happens if the government offers a program and the government runs that program directly to the people and the people figure out a way to fraud the government, the state is not responsible for that. The government got ripped off, but the state is responsible to investigate it if ordered by the government to investigate it. And that's what they do. And they said, well, we found that they took this much, they fraudulently took this much in federal funding. But what I want to point here is this. So California got buzzed down for $490 million, right? Then you go to Minnesota, $9 billion. See, these type of numbers, these are the numbers that make the sirens go off. Whoa.
It's 25%. It depends. What are you talking about?
There's
California
no red
has
state that lost $9 billion in fraud, bro.
Yeah, because no red state is worth $9 billion besides maybe Florida and Texas.
True. That's not true.
Florida and Texas.
They're bigger than Minnesota.
That's fine.
By a lot. Minnesota's not even a super rich state. It's a poor state. And they lost $9 billion.
I don't know if the Twin City, I don't know if I would call it, but there's a lot of government jobs up there. There's a lot of
government jobs. That ain't no wealth. That's the government pay its own money that it already got.
But this $9 billion, I don't think is in one. We can get into that in a second. I'm gonna forget what I was about to say.
You trying to argue like
that's what I was
Dean
about
Withers
to say.
And it ain't working.
What I was you keep on backpedaling and saying.
I'm
so
not
for
backpedaling.
Example, perfect example is you're bringing up Kansas, Louisiana. You're like, oh well, they reported the 25 and 17%, as if it just happened overnight.
These are red states.
So either they were derelict. They were what's the word I'm looking for?
Negligent.
Thank you. Negligent in their duties, because 25 and 17% doesn't just happen overnight. So those officials were allowing it to happen and weren't doing a good job investigating it.
You're not going to be able to stop for all fraud.
You don't have to stop all fucking fraud. It's 25%.
Oh, God,
that's a crazy amount. No, that's just a dumb thing to say, respectfully. Like, nobody's saying stop all fraud, and I don't know why you would say that. I'm not saying stop all fraud. It's 25 and 17%. That shit don't happen overnight. So these officials were not doing their job at the very least. And so either complicit or they're retarded. Either way, you should, like, I don't understand how you can go from, hey, you should be punished if there's fraud in your state and you're allowing it, but not if you're ignoring it or if it's just happening under your watch, and it's gotten up to 25%. That's just dumb to me. If you're elected or you're in a position of power and you're told your responsibilities is to do these things, and you're either not doing them purposely or you're just not doing them because you're negligent, either way, there should be punishment. So when 25% and 17% of these things are fraudulent, it shouldn't just be, oh, well, they reported it after we asked them to, and not before, or they didn't do anything about it. You should still be punished. And so my question is, why should they not be punished when they allow this 25 to 20% happen?
I'll tell you what's crazy is when you look at the top states in fraud, it's actually top 4 states are California, Texas, Florida, and New York. So
that's obvious because those are the most popular. Those are the most populous states in the country.
Right. So it has less with red and blue. It has more to do with population.
What are you talking
red or
about?
Blue. What I'm saying is the
that
amount of fraud has more to do with the population than whether it's a red state or a blue state. But California is number one.
California is the most populous state, and it's also the richest. Is he investigating Texas and Florida?
He investigated. I don't know.
Did he suspend anything to those 2 states? Now you just read a statistic that said of the 4, 2 of them are red. Has he opened investigations, paused any funding, et cetera, to those 2 states? Because this fraud doesn't happen overnight.
Why does Trump suspend funding to blue states but not red states? I don't know if what you're saying is actually true. You're just saying it.
This is what I mean by backpedaling. We were in agreement before. Now it's like, nah, you kind of got a point. I just don't know if you're. I don't know if
you're
it's right
presenting something that I don't know to be factual. Like no one even thinks about shit like this. Only liberals when they try to make excuses for being shitty.
I would never. First of all, you voluntarily choose to live in. You voluntarily choose to live in California. I would never live in a blue ass state like California.
I've lived in California since it was a red state, nigga.
I don't care. You voluntarily choose to live around those dumbass policies you guys got over there. I would never choose to live in a state like that. You're more liberal than I am by choosing to be there.
That's cool, man. I don't know about that. My family's here. So I'll read this. The suspension of federal funds.
You got Nevada right next to you.
Hold on. I got what? Oh, yeah.
Nevada right next to you.
Yeah, I'm not moving there.
Okay.
It's too hot. The fuck, I'm not moving
Come
to
on,
the
man.
desert. I'm not moving to the desert, bro.
You got Utah.
Fat.
That's kind of deserty,
you want me
but
to live with the Mormons?
Utah's beautiful, though.
That's where Charlie Kirk got killed. The suspension of federal funds to specific states has become a major point of conflict. Depending on who you are, the reasoning boils down to either a strict federal crackdown or systemic programmatic fraud or a politically motivated campaign targeting Democrat governors. The administration's stated reason, targeting waste and fraud. The Trump administration, led heavily by Vice President J.D. Vance and CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz, maintained that the funding freezes are strictly a matter of federal oversight, fiscal oversight, and law enforcement. Focusing on outlier spending, the administration argues that certain states have seen massive unexplained spikes in spending. For example, when suspending $1.1 billion in Medicaid home health funding from California, Dr. Oz stated that the state was an outlier whose home health spending was growing at twice the rate of other states. They said, then demanding accountability plans. Administration officials state that funds are not being permanently cut, but rather deferred until states cooperate and show a clear plan to end fraud. They argue that states like California, New York, and Minnesota have historically been complicit or too relaxed regarding oversight. And let me tell you this is one thing that I think backs that up. The state of Minnesota literally vetoed a bill that was where they were saying that all cases of fraud needed to be investigated. Why, if a state is vetoing bills like that, I would suspend their funding too. Like, y'all not even trying to fix the problem. So I think the government suspends based on whether or not they view the state as being willing to fix the issue.
So
if red states are willing to fix the issue, their funds don't get frozen. But blue states are
willing
actively
to fix
fighting.
the issue, they're still top 4. So I guess let's say that were the case. Let's say they were willing and all that other bullshit. Why do you think the focus is on the blue states being the most fraudulent when of the 4, 2 of them are red states? Why do you think there's no focus by the administration and by Republicans on the 2 red states that are also up there? Why do you think that? Do you think there's a political reason to that? Because the idea isn't necessarily to be that divisive, right? Earlier you were saying, like, let's find the middle ground, the best place, which is the middle. That's what you were saying earlier, right?
Yeah.
Let's stop.
I believe the red states present comprehensive plans to combat fraud.
No,
and
man.
the blue states
Okay.
don't.
They supposedly
You're saying
do.
no, and you don't even know.
Supposedly, because I don't have to know whether they do. I know because I know they're not successful. They're still in the top 4. It's not like if you had named all 4
we
were blue
just
states.
Started looking into race, fraud, and abuse in a real way.
The point we're getting. Yeah, but even you said, I don't know about the red states. Yeah, you don't know about them because the administration doesn't focus on them, even though 2 of the top 4 are red states. They're not going to focus on them. Just like when blues are in charge, they're going to do the exact same thing, but the other way around. And so when we're talking about being divisive and middle ground and stuff, you don't just get to say it about, oh, well, somebody got shot or this, that, or the other. It's all this bullshit. And so you sit here and you talk about, oh, he's not targeting blue states. Yes, the fuck he is. He's doing it because his party, the Trumplican party, is in power, and he's trying to do everything he can as a political maneuver, which is why the focus is only on blue states. You won't hear about fraud in red states. This is
all in your mind.
It's not all in my mind. This is politics.
Listen, okay, let me read this. So Minnesota, right? The fraud is
for the bill. As for the bill, I don't like going to they didn't approve the bill. It's
not about what you like.
No, I'm saying my opinion. No, I'm saying I'm not saying don't talk about it. I'm saying my opinion on, talking about whether a politician or a state or whatever declined to pass a bill or whatnot. Because there's a lot of reasons that politicians don't vote for a bill. So.
All right, let me read this. The Fraud Isn't Free Act, which would have imposed salary cuts, employee firings, and agency budget reductions for fraud failures, received a 7-6 party line vote. So the Democrats in their state house all opposed this, where there would be actual accountability for fraud failures, right? The Republicans, there's only 6 of them, so the Democrats beat them out in committee, but failed to advance due to the power sharing agreement requiring a majority of all members, right? So basically, it did get the majority, but I don't even know what that means, but it just seems to me like they needed like all the members to approve something for it to actually pass. A proposal to increase staffing for the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit was removed from the final bill, criticized by lawmakers who argue that stronger penalties are ineffective without sufficient prosecutors. This is just bullshit. Other measures like extending the statute of limitation for fraud prosecution from 6 to 10 years passed 133-0 and await Senate action. While partisan differences persist, Republicans pushing for stricter accountability. So it's the red guys who are actually pushing for stricter accountability, and DFL members cautioning due process and systemic impact. Minnesota has advanced multiple anti-fraud initiatives. So the whole thing is, when it comes to fraud, it should be unanimous across the board. Everyone should be like, yes, right? Let's do it.
No, it
shouldn't. It should.
No, oh my God.
Bro, oh my God.
Why do you minimize the situation as if there isn't multiple different ways to combat fraud? We have different perspectives.
So let me ask you a question. If we are, me and you're a liberal, I'm a conservative.
I'm not a liberal. You live in California.
You're definitely a liberal.
You live in SoCal, as a matter of fact, not even a rural area.
If someone says any adult caught stealing something, period, will do 30 days mandatory in jail, would you agree with that or no?
30 days in jail for what? I'm sorry.
Stealing anything. They could steal a
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Exactly. You're a liberal.
No, I think
you don't think stealing is wrong.
You said anyone, right?
Anybody.
Yeah, okay.
Adult. I said adult. I said any adult. That's exactly what I said. Any adult.
Oh, yeah. Either way, no. I wouldn't want someone with mental retardation that stole something from the store, a Snickers from the store, getting 60 days or 30 days in jail. No.
So then you introduce, but what if the person's mentally ill?
You realize that laws, if you don't add nuance into the law, the judge is going to do it, which means that they're going to legislate from the bench, which you don't want, or that you have to add nuance into the law.
No, you don't.
Will be developed.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the difference.
Because
is that you're just
someone
like
can always go. No, you're wrong. Nuance is added into the law when the trial is taken, when the accusation or allegation is taken. Wait a minute. When the allegation is taken to trial, if someone is mentally ill, right? Say that person gets arrested. They're mentally ill. The DA will decide. See, you don't even know how the law works.
I do know how the law works.
No, you don't, because you don't understand that there's already safeguards for
Why
that.
would I want them to be arrested in the why would I you said that hold on. You said in the beginning, you said anybody that goes, so the DA would have no say in this at this point. If we pass the law and it said that anybody that steals, any adult that steals goes to jail for 30 days, the DA would have no say. It's very blunt. It's very very specific.
The DA would have a say because because the DA is the one who decides whether you're going to get charged or not. That's what you got to understand. Like I keep telling you, liberals don't know how the law works.
So
that's why they're always trying to do.
You're proving my point right now.
No, you're wrong. The DA would determine if this person is fit to stand trial or be brought up on charges.
Yes, the DA would be making a decision.
Yes.
So the DA would put himself above the elected officials and say, hey, I'm not going to do this because I don't believe that this person should stand trial for this.
That is the DA's job.
That's the issue. No,
that is the DA's job. Yeah, bro, what are you talking about? You've never been on trial, bro. You don't know what you're talking about.
If we're saying,
have you ever been on trial?
If we're saying that we want law and order, then we shouldn't be saying, a DA should choose based off of what they feel like is best.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't, like I said, and you listen. No, look, when the police arrest you, right? The police don't charge you. The police arrest you. The police then submit their report to the DA. The DA then brings charges against you.
Choose to prosecute or not. I understand this.
Okay,
I understand.
So
Stop talking like I don't understand.
So when the police are there, they're gonna.
You don't have to be condescending.
Listen, the police. First of all, you could act retarded, and the police would not know, right? So then,
but we're not talking about the arrest. We're talking about the 30 days in jail.
Yes, that is when you.
I don't want the law to say that. I don't think the law should say that. I don't want to give. I don't want that's something that doesn't need to be left up to a DA, because the DA might be like, I don't care. For me, so like me personally, I'm not a big fan of mitigating circumstances. I'm not a big fan of it at all. So if I was DA, or if someone was worse than me was DA, they might go, I don't care that they were retarded. Matter of fact, put their mom in jail too, because she didn't watch them.
Yeah, the DA can't put.
That's what they might
charges up against your parents.
I know I was being facetious.
This adult,
like I understand it was facetious. The DA might say, I don't care that they're mentally retarded. Lock them up or prosecute them anyway, and then you're leaving it up to the jury, right?
No, so the DA So the DA, they would prosecute that person. They would say we're gonna bring charges against this person. The lawyer then can ask the judge, I want a mental health evaluation for this person. They'll send a psychologist or whatever to you. You'll meet them. That person will determine this person is mentally ill, and that person will say this person is not fit to stand trial. The lawyer will then bring that report to the judge, and the judge will determine whether or not that person can stand trial based on what that psychologist or psychiatrist says. That is not like draconian to where it's like, oh man, this person's automatically going to jail.
Where does a grand jury fit in all this?
There's no grand jury for just basic theft, bro. What the hell are you talking about?
Okay.
Grand jury is a federal thing, bro. So that's what I'm telling you. Y'all don't know how the law works. I've been on trial before, so I know how this works well. And this is what the problem is in our country. People who are ignorant of the way things work, making decisions off of emotions. If you understood where they could say you get 30 days mandatory for stealing anything if you're an adult, you understand that there is still a process that you have to go through before you actually spend 30 days in jail. And that process weeds out the people who are arrested, who maybe shouldn't go to jail for 30 days, and the people who are arrested who should go to jail for 30 days. You got DA, then you got your public defender, you got the judge, you got all these fail-safes to make sure that people who shouldn't be in jail don't get put in jail. Instead, what we do, we rip down the whole fucking system and let the criminals roam free to commit crime. Oh, only if it's $1,000. No, it should be based on case by case. This person is not fit to stand trial, right? Therefore, they'll go to a treatment facility or whatever. This other person is just a bum trying to steal, trying to sell shit on OfferUp or sell shit on the side of the road. He's going to do mandatory 30 days in jail off rip. That is the way the law works. You guys are trying to disintegrate the law because you don't understand the process of the law.
Grand juries are used in more than just federal crimes.
Grand juries are used for serious crimes, not petty theft.
Well, I thought they were used for more than that. I don't steal shit.
Grand jury for petty theft is crazy.
Well, James Madison thought that jury should be used for everything. So
yeah, why not?
He had a point. I think he had a point too.
Yeah, but juries are only used if you plead not guilty. If you had most people, overwhelming amount.
No, that's a jury. A grand jury decides indictment. So you wouldn't plead guilty or not guilty before the indictment.
No, grand jury decides if the case is going to be brought up.
Yeah, the indictment.
Yeah, they decide. Yeah, so
yeah, the indictment, but a jury then comes in after guilty or not, or whether you want to plead, or whether you want to take it to trial. I guess I should say those are two different things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just you guys just need to go educate yourselves on like the way the law works. I think education is the key, and it's true because our schools are failing our country because they're letting people out of school who don't understand shit. Like they really.
Well, that's a Republican policy.
Nah,
no child left behind.
Man, please stop it.
No child left behind. Literally, okay, man. That's not a Republican policy.
No child left behind meant the teachers are supposed to put the work in to get the child up to speed.
It incentivizes. Okay, we can go read articles about no child left behind.
Now,
to your point about education, generally speaking.
All right, listen. No child left behind was not just pass people because they're slow. I mean, they're not.
It doesn't have to say that. It incentivizes certain things, and that's what it incentivized. Everything that you pass and don't pass, anything that you pass, anything that you do, and that at that level it incentivizes or it decentivizes. And what that had, the result of it was to incentivize people to be passed that weren't ready to be passed. That's what it did. It doesn't have to directly state it. It's about what it incentivizes, what it causes people to do, the economics of what it does to groups of people or to people, generally speaking.
Listen, what I'm telling you is no
Just like
child
student, for example, perfect example, federal loans and higher education. It doesn't directly state, oh, we will pay for any type of anybody to go to school or whatever, but it incentivizes people to go to school that otherwise wouldn't because they can get the money. That's what it incentivizes. So then you have a bloated system of people going to college because they want the college experience, but not actually going for a proper degree. Because the federal loan program incentivizes that.
Listen, what I'm telling you is the teachers, especially in liberal cities, liberal states and cities, they abused No Child Left Behind.
Because they're incentivized to do so. These schools are incentivized to do it's not just blue, it's red too. They're incentivized to do these things because funding comes from it. Anytime you attach funding with a certain requirement or whatever, you incentivize the person receiving the funding to make sure that requirement is met. You see the same thing in communism, right? In the Soviet Union, the little districts and whatever were
communism.
No, who? You live in Cali again. I'm not going to say this is my last time. So you live in Cali. You live on the West Coast. You're closer to communism than pretty much any other state.
40% conservative, bro.
That's not enough. That's 60% not. Just like in the USSR, they were incentivized to lie about their numbers, to send it up to the Communist Party and say, hey, we met these numbers. We met this. We met that to receive the funding, to receive the benefits of meeting those numbers.
So No Child Left Behind was signed into law by George Bush, but it was a bipartisan legislation, and it was co-authored by Ted Kennedy and John Boehner, a Republican and Democrat. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine.
That
It
was
was
just
signed.
Republicans.
It was signed by a Republican. No, I didn't say it was just Republicans. I was saying it was signed by a Republican. He didn't veto it.
Yeah. So tying school funding to standardized test scores, which forced teachers to teach the test, and narrow curriculum away from arts and sciences. The law's core mandate, 100% student proficiency by 2014, was widely criticized as mathematically impossible, leading to widespread school failures, manipulated data, and severe. And that's where the Democrats.
Okay, it's not just them. Bro,
They
you
manipulated
did
the
so
data.
well. You did so well at the beginning of the stream talking about we need to find the middle ground. We need to recognize it's not just one side, it's both sides doing things, blah, blah, blah. And now you're back on your bullshit. You're back over here talking about Democrats are doing it. Democrats, blue this, blue that. No, it's both. I don't understand why you think that Republicans are not fraud, like not committing fraud.
Listen,
Just because a total number is not the same.
Republicans are children of God, dude. You
all
demonic
right, you trolling me.
Democrats
All right, man,
are
you
something
trolling.
else.
Yeah, is that what it is?
This is what it is. All right, man, I gotta go. I want to catch the last 30
Yeah,
minutes.
but I'm sorry the Lakers lost, but it's all good, man. We gonna be.
LeBron sucks, and the Lakers
All right,
suck
come
as
on,
long
man.
as they have LeBron.
Come on, man. LeBron did all right.
I stopped supporting the Lakers once LeBron
What?
came, and I will.
What is wrong with you?
I will resume supporting them when they
We
get
got a
LeBron.
ring.
Man, that was a bubble ring. That shit don't
It
count.
counts,
No,
bro.
all
Every
the
player,
stars
every
stopped
player.
playing. No,
What do you mean all
no. See, bro, you're a true liberal.
I'm a true liberal about being a Lakers fan.
You're a true bum. Who the hell is giving value to a bubble ring when
Every
all the
single
good
player that
players
was
dropped
there.
out of the bubble?
What players dropped out of the bubble?
Dude, Paul George.
He dropped out of the bubble.
Yes.
He's not even on the West Coast. He's not even on
He
West
was.
Coast team. Was he on the
was.
Clippers?
Yep.
Or was he on the Sixers?
He was on the Clippers.
Yeah, you're right. Sixers was Kawhi's shot. That was like 2020.
Bro, they didn't play nobody, bro. They played the Heat, bro, and the Heat wasn't even a great
They
team,
beat the
bro.
competition that was in front of them.
Stop
Okay,
it.
so hold on. So do none of the rings prior to do any of the Magic rings count, or not? Do any of the Magic rings count?
All of them do.
Okay, what about prior to? What about does Wilt have a ring with us?
Yes.
Okay, does his ring count?
Yep.
Why does his ring when there was 8 teams in the league count, but the bubble ring doesn't?
Because those were the best players playing at that time.
And they played the best players playing. That's why they got to where they were at.
Nope.
Oh,
They
my
played a depleted league where people pulled out because of COVID.
They played the competition that was in front of them, just like Wilt and Bill Russell got his 11 rings.
Hell
Bullshit.
no.
Okay.
The
Hey,
league
listen.
should have been stopped, bro. The league should have been
Every interview,
suspended.
every player interview talked about the ring or talked about the bubble being a hard time. Pretty much. I mean, besides like Steven Adams and shit, But most of them said like it was actually kind of tough because it was a completely different atmosphere. You had Warren, who was it? TJ Warren or whoever it was going off for fucking 40 points. Never did that in his life. Not even in high school.
Man,
you had different players not able to step up to the moment, and other players that were not able to. They played the competition that was in front of them, and they won. You don't got to. I can't believe you talking about taking a ring.
All right, man. I gotta go though. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man. My bad. All right.
I'll see y'all later.